Part 75. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 741. 3 days later, when Yang Xiaohu called Lu Ligan was in Zhang Chen's office. Yang Xiaohu asked Lu Ligan if he still wanted to buy the spoke factory. Lu Ligan said yes. Is it still the same condition? That's right, Director Yang. Please bring your daughter with you and follow me after signing, Lu Ligan said with a smile. Yang Xiaohu also smiled on the phone and asked, "Are you ready for the money?" "The check is in the car and can be written at any time," Lu Ligan said. "Okay, then this matter can be settled. You go to Erking head office at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We will sign the agreement there. The leader of the company will be a witness." 2 o'clock in the afternoon? "Okay, tell me the address of Erking's head office," Lu Ligan said, took the pen and paper on Zhang Chen's desk, and wrote down, "Erking Building, Yan'an Road, 8th floor, 2nd floor, Mr. Cheng." Before Lu Ligan finished writing, Zhang Chen snatched his pen away and said, "Forget it, ask him, is it Mr. Nai's or Secretary Bao's office?" Yang Xiaohu had already heard Zhang Chen's words. He said yes and went to Mr. Nai's office. Lu Ligan put down the phone and Zhang Chen said to him, "I'll go with you. I'm familiar with the place." Lu Ligan was surprised and asked, "How come you are familiar with Erking Corporation? This Kuning garment factory turns out to be part of the Erking system. It was their president Nai and Secretary Bao who tricked me into annexing this place. Do you think I'm familiar with it?" Lu Ligan's eyes widened. "Are there many factories like theirs?" "I don't know, but I heard there are a lot of them," Zhang Chen said. If there's such a relationship, why didn't you tell me earlier?" Lu Ligan scolded. You want a relationship with Erking, why didn't you tell me earlier?" Zhang Chen scolded back. "Come on, do you have any other connections?" Lu Ligan asked. "Yes, would you like to meet the secretary and village director of Sanbao village?" "Okay, when I'm going to build a vegetable greenhouse, you can introduce me to him." Lu Ligan glared at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan walked into Mr. Nai's office. Director Yang was already waiting here. Seeing Zhang Chen, Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao laughed. Mr. Nai and Zhang Chen said, "Lao Yang just told us that this is Mr. Liu's. My friend knew us, and we were still guessing who it would be, but we didn't expect it to be you." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "I only knew he was here after hearing his phone call." Secretary Bao said, "Mr. Zhang, I have passed by Kuning garment factory several times and I am embarrassed to go in." Zhang Chen quickly said, "Secretary Bao, what are you talking about? Whenever you come to my place, I will definitely welcome you with both hands and feet." "Oh, I'm just embarrassed. I'm afraid of seeing those old workers." Secretary Bao waved his hand and said, "This man is so irritating to compare with others. Look at this same Kuning garment factory, in the hands of Mr. Zhang. The world is turned upside down. Do you think I would be ashamed if I went in?" "Hey, Lao Bao, you can't say that. At least it shows that we have an accurate opinion of Mr. Zhang, and it can be considered that we have done a good thing for the workers of Kuning garment factory," Mr. Nai said. "After the pleasantries, let's get down to business. Lu Ligan and factory director Yang have already discussed something, and now Zhang Chen is here. Of course, Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao have nothing to say." Lu Ligan and factory director Yang signed on behalf of both parties A and B. Lu Ligan filled out the check and handed it to Director Yang. Director Yang pointed at Mr. Nai and said, "Give it to him." Lu Ligan handed the check to Mr. Nai again, and Mr. Nai accepted it with a smile. Factory Director Yang asked Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao, "Do we have to wait for the money to arrive?" No, don't worry, Mr. Zhang is here," Mr. Nai said. Director Yang handed a file bag containing the business license, tax registration certificate, land certificate, real estate certificate and other certificates of the Hangcheng bicycle spoke factory, as well as a plastic bag of seals, to Lou Ligon, who you only need to use this agreement and the power of attorney signed by the factory director to change the name of the legal person and shareholder to your own. A company that has been established for nearly 30 years completes transactions quickly in a way that is close to buying a bunch of vegetables at a farmer's market. Mr. Nye and Secretary Bao looked at it and both breathed a sigh of relief. Among their many troubles, they finally had one less problem. Fortunately, the Hangcheng bicycle spoke factory was in recession a few years ago. The workers stayed in the factory and could not even be paid. At that time, in Xiaoshan and Yongcheng near Hangcheng, many foreign trade screwdrivers suddenly appeared. Private hardware tool factory and small electroplating factory. Most of the bosses of these factories are farmers who have just come out of the fields, washed the mud off their feet, and put down their pants. How do they know how to draw, straighten, degrease, galvanize, and chrome plate carbon steel? Hangcheng Bicycle Spoke Factory, and it was my husband's company that was well known in the local area. The workers in their factories were quickly hired by these factories as master craftsmen. The people who were invited took several of them one by one, and before Erking head office could disband them, they resigned and ran away. The man ran away and then came back to buy the idle equipment in the factory. The equipment in the Spoke factory was different from that in Kuning garment factory. The broken sewing machines in Kuning garment factory were not worth a few copper coins. They thought the shipping cost was too expensive to give them to others. The equipment in the Spoke factory is still very popular, just buy it and use it. The money from selling the equipment was used to buy out the remaining office and support staff in the factory, allowing them to make their own way. These people used to feel that they were superior to the workers in the factory. Now, the workers below are being snatched away by people who treat them as masters and treat them as treasures. Instead, they have become trash that no one wants. They also feel that they are superior to the workers. He is disgraced and can't even speak hard. Although these people are reluctant in their hearts, they can't give a single reason not to say no in your factory. All the workers below have fled, and you are the only ones left. In the words of the workers, this group of freeloaders, you still have the nerve to continue working in the factory, are you really going to be freeloaders? In this way, they also ended their relationship with the factory. A factory that originally had more than 100 people ended up with only one factory director and more than 20 retired workers. The retired workers have died off in the past few years, and this year there are only 17 left. Factory director Ying wanted to return to Erking Corporation several times, or simply buy out his seniority, but the company did not agree and let him stay because there was still a long-standing and difficult problem in the Spoke factory that had not yet been solved. That is those workers who have left the factory. They have left the factory, but their families are still here. They go to work in Xiaoshan and Jiande, and their wives and children are still here. Logically speaking, this is unreasonable, but many times, when there are more people on the other side, the unreasonable becomes reasonable. In addition, everyone is acquaintances, and it is a public matter, so no one can offend others by tearing off their old face. These people continue to live in the factory, not paying the rent, and stealing water and electricity. This is equivalent to the Erking Corporation paying back every month, and they dare not cut off the water and electricity because the remaining 17 a retired worker still lives there. No one wants to rent the factory building in Gongchengqiao. There are too many empty factories in that area. Since the Spoke factory is right next to the canal, you can build a dock directly in the factory. At that time, a large amount of steel, coal, cement, and sand flowing from Hangzhou to the Hangjiahua plain were spread through canals. Some people wanted to buy the Spoke factory and use it as a yard and material warehouse, but they gave up because of the existence of these people. Everyone knows very well that the people who live here are a very scary group. It doesn't matter if they just live here, but they don't count as living here. They are also used to treating their original factory as their own home. You pile them up. The steel and coal here are like ants day and night. They will come one after another and swagger around to eat, which is very annoying. Anyone who wants to buy this place has one condition, and that is to clear it out, and whether it is Laoying or Erking Corporation, what they are least capable of doing is to clear it out. Forget about it. I didn't expect to see Lu Ligan. I really don't mind this one. Now that someone is willing to buy the spoke factory, it means that the Erking Corporation will no longer be cheating, and 600,000 yuan is enough to pay for the 17 workers. The matter of the spoke factory can finally be solved with Kuning Garment Factory likewise, it has finally come to an end. How can Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao not be happy in their hearts? Director Ying told Lu Ligan, Mr. Lu, look, I won't be going to the factory tomorrow. Do you want to arrange for someone to guard it? Lu Ligan said, why are you guarding? Let him be there. There is nothing anyway. Mr. Nai, Secretary Bao, and Factory Director Ying all left. It seemed that Mr. Lu was still unclear about the situation. Mr. Nai said, Mr. Lu, although there is nothing valuable in the spoke factory, you still have to send people to watch. If no one is watching, the garbage pickers and beggars will soon go in and make a nest. In that factory the things are gone, but the house is still there, and the bricks and tiles of that house will probably be removed one by tractors. Also, those people living inside still use your water and electricity. Lu Ligan really didn't expect this. His original plan was to just throw it away after buying it. He didn't expect that there would be so much trouble. Mr. Nai was right. It looked like he wouldn't send anyone. It looks really bad. But where can I find someone? Lu Ligan thought for a while and said, Director Ying, look, can you help me find a reliable person among the people who are still living there, and let him look after me? I will do it every month, give him a salary of $150. So much, I want to make this money, Director Ying said with a smile. Secretary Bao said, then you can continue to stay there. We will also pay wages here. Everyone laughed. Director Ying and Lu Ligan said, then let's call him Lao Sitou. This Lao Sitou is a bachelor. He used to be the section chief of the security department of the factory. After buying out his seniority, he still lives there and has not found a formal job. He just goes to Gongchen Bridge every day and sets up a chess stall, where he can eat every meal. This can be regarded as solving his difficulties. This person is still very responsible. Okay, then please thank the factory director and tell him for me, Lu Ligan said. Okay, just one sentence, that's all, Director Ying agreed. Lao Ying, let me talk to the people who still live there, Secretary Bao said. This used to be owned by the public. They stole water and electricity. Everyone turned a blind eye. Now it's owned by Lu. All in all, let them stop. If they continue to steal water and electricity, it is no different from stealing money from Boss Liu's pocket. This person also needs some face. That's right, otherwise, if Boss Lu wants to kick him out, he shouldn't blame Boss Lu for being unkind, Mr. Nai also said. Thank you for watching, a safe journey, the line of cloth, sometimes cloudy and rainy, whether you are here or not, and a Starf's monthly pass. Thanks for all the reading and votes. Good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 742. After the business was done, Zhang Chen invited Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao, saying that he would treat them to dinner at Tianxiang Tower in the evening. The two looked at each other, and Secretary Bao said, if Mr. Zhang invites us, then we are not polite. It is better to be respectful than to obey. It's settled that at 6 o'clock in the evening, the Pinghukaoyu box on the second floor of Tianxiang building. Zhang Chen invited factory director Ying to go too. Lao Ying was a sensible person and knew that Zhang Chen was just a courtesy and that if he really went, they would feel inconvenienced. Lao Ying quickly declined and said, thank you Mr. Zhang, I won't go. I don't have to go to the fourth boss now to explain to him about taking over tomorrow. In the evening, his chess stalls are all set up at Gongchen Bridge. We can find him on the road, but early tomorrow morning, I don't know which corner he has crawled into, but I can't find him. What Lao Ying said was reasonable, and others would not force it. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan shook hands with Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao to say goodbye. Lao Ying followed them downstairs. In the elevator, Lu Ligan asked, "Director Ying, where is your daughter?" "Down below, I'll ask her to wait below." Director Ying seemed to be waiting for this. As soon as Lu Ligan said it, he immediately answered urgently. They arrived downstairs, and as soon as they walked out of the side door of the Erking building, a round-faced little girl in her late teens came over immediately. This was Ying Ying, the daughter of factory director Ying. Director Ying introduced them to them, and she and her daughter, he said that when you get to the company, you should obey Mr. Lu and other leaders obediently. Do you understand? The little girl lowered her head and agreed, her face immediately turning red. Lu Ligan and Lao Ying said, "Director Ying, don't worry, Xiao Ying will follow me and I will take good care of her." The two of them were talking as if Ying Ying was not going to work, but to elementary school or kindergarten. Director Ying waved to them, walked to the bicycle parking area on the side, unlocked the bicycle, pushed the bicycle out, turned the front of the bicycle, pushed it forward, exerted a little force with his left foot, and pedaled. The speed of the car increased almost at the same time as his body. With a step of his right foot, he was on the bicycle and walked away. For some reason, Lu Ligan looked at him and felt sad. Lu Li waved Ying Ying to get in the car. Ying Ying had obviously never been in a car before. She reached out and pulled the door handle. Her fingers did not hold the latch and the door did not open. She stood there awkwardly. Knowing what to do, his face turned red. Zhang Chen hurried over and opened the car door for her. After she got in and sat down, he closed the door. Lu Ligan sent Zhang Chen to the company and told him, "I will go back to the company first, arrange the little girl's work, and come to pick you up at 5:30. Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen got out of the car, and Lu Ligan was about to drive away. Zhang Chen thought of something and patted the car window. Lu Ligan stopped, rolled down the window and asked, "What's wrong?" "Just measure the clothes," Zhang Chen said. "Yep." Lu Ligan turned off the car, turned around and said to Ying Ying, "Xiao Ying gets out of the car and goes upstairs to measure the size of your work clothes." Ying Ying hummed, and Zhang Chen had already opened the car door for her. The three of them went upstairs and entered the design center. Lu Ligan called out, "Mei Yao, please take measurements for this new employee of mine." He Hung Mei came over with a soft ruler. When she saw Ying Ying, she was stunned for a moment. "Isn't this the box with circles, and you have started work in advance?" Lu Ligan was right, special talents will be hired first. Ying Ying looked at them and didn't know what they were talking about. However, no matter what they were talking about, she saw that everything around her was fresh and she felt happy in her heart because she was sure that she could go to the place she had dreamed of. The company is at work. This time, Lu Ligan did not take Wen Wen and Qian with him for dinner, because their presence on such an occasion would only be counterproductive. In some times and occasions, if you make people feel that you are frivolous from the beginning, people will not dare to trust you. Lu Ligan knew this very well. Today, Zhang Chen's role is greater than that of Wen Wen and Qian combined. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan had been sitting in the box for 10 minutes when they heard Mr. Nai outside ask the waiter, "Where is the Pinghukaoyu box?" Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan quickly stood up and walked to the door. After the necessary greetings and toasts to each other, Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao asked about Yiming Food Factory. They knew about the failure of Yiming Food Factory in the past, and they were familiar with how good Yiming Food Factory is now. Only a devil would believe that reform pioneer Fan Kishun, you have been lying in that dilapidated factory for more than 10 years without making any movement. Is it really like a south wind blowing overnight, and you suddenly become high-spirited? Do you think you are the king of Chuzhuang, who has been silent for 3 years and then became a blockbuster? Anyone who has the ability to make a sound can be anyone, but the most unlikely one is Yu Fan Kishan, Mr. Nai, and Secretary Bao. At that time, they decided that there must be an expert behind this. As for this expert, Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao finally met him today. The two people inquired about the Yiming food factory in detail, and the most important thing was the replacement of the factory. Lu Ligan patiently talked to them without damaging Fan Kishan's reputation. After listening, the two sighed repeatedly. I feel that this is really an exquisite game of chess, every step is closely followed, and it is played well. Secretary Bao said, then I heard Mr. Lu say that we have many companies that can take this path. Mr. Nai nodded. Lu Ligan was happy when he heard this, and thought to himself, it seems that this Erking corporation is really a rich mine. They are not one, but many, enough for you Lu Ligan to dig. Mr. Lu, do you have time tomorrow? Asked Mr. Nai. Lu Ligan said yes. What are Mr. Nai's orders? In this case, if you have time, we will take you to the spring factory tomorrow morning. Its condition is the same as that of the spoke factory. Lu Ligan almost shouted, this is an olive branch. Although it is a rich mine, you have to dig it out one pick at a time. If you dig beautifully with your pick, there will be a steady stream of mines in the future. Lu Ligan said yes. Mr. Zhang, do you have time to go take a look together? Secretary Bao asked. Zhang Chen also agreed. Secretary Bao told them the address and location of the Hangcheng Spring Factory in detail, and the two parties agreed to meet directly at the gate of the Spring Factory at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. The Hangzhou Spring Factory is also located on the edge of the canal, but it is in the main urban area of Hangzhou. The Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal reaches the end when it reaches Gongchen Bridge, but the river itself does not reach the end, but continues to spread forward. From west to east, passing through the urban area of Hangzhou, all the way to the Sanbao ship lock, where it intersects with the Qiantang River. From Gongchen Bridge to Sanbao ship lock, this section of the canal flowing through downtown Hangzhou is no longer called the Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal, but called the Jiangnan Canal. The Hangzhou Bicycle Spoke Factory is next to the Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal, and the Hangzhou Spring Factory, located on the edge of the Jiangnan Canal, with good transportation and geographical location. After passing the Zongbei Bridge, it is right along the canal on the left side of Zhongshan North Road. Hangcheng Spring Factory is a former mansion of a wealthy family, covering an area of about 267 acres. It produces bicycle springs here. In the era of the planned economy, the division of labor in factories was very fine. For a bicycle, there was a special spoke factory for the spokes. Those who produced spokes would never and could not produce steel rings, and springs were produced by special spring factories. The pedals and chain rings are produced by specialized factories. The products produced by these factories are all deployed through the first level and second level stations in East China. Sometimes they don't know where they go across the country. And those so-called bicycle factories are actually bicycle assembly plants. Where do many spare parts come from? They didn't know it was coming. The springs produced by the same factory may be used on Forever and Phoenix bicycles, Fige bicycles, and Sanhua and Kunlun bicycles. When bicycle factories like Giant and Angel started to develop, especially when more no-name bicycle factories started to develop, the ecology of bicycle factories completely changed. They only needed to add a few more workshops to produce springs, pedals, spokes, etc. The staff turnover in the spring factory was the same as that in the spoke factory, and even more complete. Not even a factory director was retained. This was all due to the fact that the spring factory had no dormitories for workers from the beginning. After everyone left, they simply locked the door. Anyway, if retired workers were looking for it, they would go to the Erking head office and not find it here. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan came here for the first time and the road was unfamiliar, so they came out half an hour early. But in fact, this place is very close to Zhang Chen's office. Opposite the Jiangnan Canal is Huanchen North Road. From here, you can see the metasequoia forest behind Kuning Garment Factory. Lu Ligan drove and arrived in less than 10 minutes. When he arrived here, Lu Ligan's mood was completely different from when he arrived at the Hangcheng Spoke Factory. He was no longer cool, but excited. He felt that this place was really great. It grows here. Look at it. Everyone who went up looked like they were surnamed Lu, just waiting for me to buy them. Zhang Chen was smoking a cigarette and said to Lu Ligan, "Take it easy, don't let anyone see you looking anxious." "I can't control it, I can't control it, I can't control it at all. I'm more excited than seeing a beautiful condom," Lu Ligan chuckled. "When did you become a Hangzhou guy?" Zhang Chen cursed. Mr. Nai and his van arrived, and 3 people got out of the car. In addition to Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao, there was also their office director. The director held a bunch of keys in his hand, and the keys were put on key rings. Wearing it on a wooden board again, Zhang Chen saw how it looked like the key to the Red Flag Hotel. The main door of the Hangcheng Spring Factory is 2 black wooden doors with 2 door knockers, and a heavy padlock hanging on the door knockers. Open the door and go in. What should have been a garden inside the door is paved with blue bricks and pebbles, but now the whole thing has been poured with a layer of cement. The director opened the doors of the inner rooms one by one. The doors were all empty. All the equipment here probably went to the same destination as the Spoke Factory. On the floor paved with square tiles, the square tiles were crushed by the machine. After the machine was moved away, the entire ground was full of potholes and grease, making it difficult for people to step on it, but there was no need for them to enter the room. Not long after walking forward, there was a corridor leading to the canal. From this corridor, they walked to the bank of the canal outside. Next to the river bank, there is a long wooden corridor. When this wooden corridor reaches the end, it suddenly becomes clear that it is the backyard of this old house. What is slightly surprising is that there is still a rockery in the backyard. Next to the rockery is a large cluster of banana trees. There are 2 willow trees next to the river. Between the 2 willow trees, there is an octagonal pavilion. Outside the pavilion, there is the Jiangnan Canal gurgles day and night. The 4 people stood in the pavilion and looked towards the other side. When they got here, they were facing the metasequoia forest of Kuning Garment Factory. There was no need to open the door anymore, so the director stopped following them. Zhang Chen looked at Mr. Nai and Secretary Bao and asked, "Is this place also sold directly like the Spoke Factory?" Mr. Nai nodded. "How much?" Zhang Chen asked. "The Spring Factory needs to arrange for more retired workers. The location here is better than that of the Spoke Factory. We are planning to sell it for 2 million. Secretary Bao said that Zhang Chen understood that he was not planning to sell it for 2 million, but should have sold it at this price, but no one wanted it yet. If you buy it and use it as a factory, this place is indeed too expensive. At that time, people did not have the concept of land when buying and selling factories, because when they first obtained these lands, they were all allocated by the state for free, and the enterprises did not pay any money for it. From then until the large-scale enterprises later during restructuring, the most important consideration is the resettlement of personnel. No local government has yet realized that land is the scarcest resource and the most valuable thing for enterprises. This will not be realized until many years later, when governments at all levels begin to manage cities and manage land and monopolize the primary land market, and the price of land continues to soar. I agree. Before Zhang Chen could say anything, Lu Ligan spoke, and Zhang Chen had no time to stop him. Thank you to the blind man for watching the pantomime Z. Thank you for your monthly votes from the Lost Forest, Tianyi Sinzo, Book Friends 201811110150453780, and book friends 1302211840471110. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 743. Now that one party has made an offer and the other party immediately agrees, the next thing is simple. What's more, this place is cleaner than the Spoke factory, and there are no problems left over by the old employees. As long as the two parties sign the agreement, Lou Lepole will give the money. Hand over. The other party handed Lou Ligon a file bag and the key to the large piece of wood in the director's hand, and this place was really named Lou. The four people stood in the pavilion to finalize the matter. Mr. Nye and Secretary Bao still showed their sincerity. They felt that Lou Ligon would be under too much pressure if he asked Lou Ligon to pay 2 million at a time, so they took the initiative to sign the contract. When making the agreement, Lou Ligon paid 1 million first, and another 1 million to be paid 6 months later. Mr. Lou, your house has already been sold by then, so you should not be under so much pressure, Secretary Bao said. For them, it's very simple. The land is here, and you can't put it in your bag and take it away. There is an agreement, and if you can't hand over the remaining 1 million by then, that's even better. This land, it would go back to their name, but it was just a matter of changing the name, and it would be $1 million in vain. At that time, 1 million was a huge sum of money. It was impossible for the land to be acquired and construction had not started for 6 months. It was even more unimaginable that it had not been sold. You must know that at that time, you could start selling houses as soon as the drawings were released. You sold off the plan properties and sold down payments. You can sell it for the full price, no matter how you sell it. In this regard, the relevant regulations are still blank. From Lou Ligon's point of view, paying the 2 million in one lump sum did not put any pressure on him at all. He already had more than 10 million in his account, and now the second phase of Splendid Home has been paid again. Payments have begun, and whether it is the Xiaosha or Mayang Road projects, it has not yet come time to pay for the project again. Lou Ligon's finances are very easy. This also gives him the confidence to say I agree almost without thinking. But the other party suggested this kindly, but Lou Lizu still pretended that Mr. Nye and Secretary Bao had helped him solve a big problem. He was very grateful. This was because, when the ball was hit back, it would not be possible. It was all good intentions and favors. Lou Ligon could pay the 1 million he owed at any time at any time. As long as he paid it 1 day earlier, it would be a favor. I can win the trust of Mr. Nye and Secretary Bao, and I feel that I can rest assured when dealing with this guy. Lou Ligon still had to dig out pickaxe after pickaxe. He had to bury this foreshadowing so that he could reveal it when needed. They signed the contract at Erking head office in the afternoon, and the two parties cooperated happily. Tonight, Lou Ligon invited Mr. Nye and Secretary Bao to Zhongshenji for dinner. This time, Lou Ligon took Wen Wen and Qian, and Zhang in the morning. I excused myself from attending because I had something to do. In the evening, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao returned to Sanbao. Xiao Zhao went to Zheng and the others. Zhang Chen walked to Wu Ziyai and the others and saw the packages piled up like a hill inside. Wei Venfang and Wu Ziyai were both busy. When they arrived at Zhang Chen, Wu Ziyai came over and said to him, "Mr. Zhang, let me tell you news. Right now, you no longer need to go to a vocational and technical school to learn a driver's license. The society allows driving schools to be opened and driver's license training can be conducted. Moreover, everyone is not required to learn to drive a truck. You can also take the Jeep test." "Real?" "Yes, right here in Hangzhou, at the East Bus Station, they have established a new driving school. My senior brother is here as a coach. I think you and Xiao Zhao should go and learn, 2 days a week, just half a day each day. Great, Wu Zai, then help me say hello to your senior brother. Wu Zai chuckled and said, the quota is very tight. I have already told my senior brother and asked him to reserve 2. I knew you would definitely need them. I need it, thank you, Wu Zai. Zhang Chen patted Wu Zai's arm and shouted. Zhang Chen thought the news was great. He immediately went to the distribution center and told Xiao Zhao the news. Xiao Zhao was also very happy. Indeed, it's not that they don't want to learn to drive, but it turns out that to learn to drive, they need to leave their jobs and go to a vocational and technical school to learn, with food and accommodation in school for 2 or 3 months. Like Lao Wan, he was Wu Kai's master, which gave him a lot of face, and secretly if you open the back door, you can't let others know about it, and you still have to go back to Tonglu school to take the exam. How can Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao have time to learn to drive like this? And now, they do have this need. They travel to Sanbeo, Stadium Road and Yan'an Road every day. Every time they either take Lao Wan's car or ask He Hungmei to deliver them, which is too inconvenient. After Lu Ligan's splendid home was built, they lived on Mayang Road, but both Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao still had to come to Sanbeo every day, and they came all night, or even in the middle of the night. We have to wait for the reports from various places to come over. Xiao Zhao wants to calculate the inventory, and Zhang Chen needs to discuss production arrangements with Zhao Zhigang based on the inventory situation. Because of the exchange rate, once the 2 seasons have passed, they now have some inventory of spring, summer, and autumn clothing in their warehouses. Zheng Huiyang and her entire distribution center are already trying to find ways to coordinate and arrange all parts of the country as much as possible. Goods and reduce inventory, but inventory still inevitably increases, and Zhang Chen has begun to worry. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao immediately decided that as soon as Wu Zai's senior brother could start learning, they would go and sign up immediately. At midnight, Xiao Zhao took Zhang Xiangbei and went home to sleep first. Zhang Chen was still in the factory. Lu Ligan came with Wen Wen and Qian. When he saw Zhang Chen, he shouted, I knew you didn't go back. What are you doing here? Zhang Chen asked curiously. These 2 guys have never been here before, so I'll bring them here to have a look. I also want to drink with you. Zhang Chen scolded, didn't you drink with Lao Nai and Lao Bao last night? Why the hell are you still drinking now? Lu Ligan and Wen Wen Qian waved their hands and said, go to the workshop and distribution center to see for yourself. Anyway, you all know Kaidi and Zheng Huiyang. I am here with Mr. Zhang. Wen Wen and Qian left, and Lu Lipol stood there, raising his neck and shouting upwards, Lao Wan! Lao Wan! Lao Wan stuck his head out from the scaffolding on the 3rd floor, and Lu Li waved him down. After a while, Lao Wan came down from the top. Lu Ligan took out 100 yuan and said to Lao Wan, go to the street and help us get some food back. Lao Wan asked what kind of dish. Lu Ligan said, anything, just add more spice. He handed Santana's key to Lao Wan and told him, you drive my car. Lao Wan was very happy when he heard this and asked, can I drive it for a spin while waiting for the food? Okay, you can drive it back to your hometown for a spin, as long as you can come back in time to deliver food, Lu Ligan said. Lao Wan got into the cab with a smile and left. Lu Ligan went to the canteen, and after a while, he came back with 2 bottles of Urquatu. Zhang Chen cursed, are you crazy? Want to drive back? It's not necessarily that you finished drinking, so why are you panicking? I ordered 2 more dishes in the cafeteria, and I saw there were oily residues, fried green peppers and fried oily residues, isn't it? Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen looked at him and asked, did you go to Zhongshanqi tonight? Didn't you drink? Lu Ligan was overjoyed when he heard this, and after drinking a lot of wine, he said, these 2 guys, Old Bao and Old Nai, never took their eyes off them all night, telling all the history of their revolutionary work and suffering. The confession made these two women burst into tears. I couldn't drink alone, so I had to laugh and be surprised and sad by the side. Haha, the waiter urged us 3 times before the two comrades reluctantly went back. They had already decided to find a place for them to enjoy themselves this Sunday. Why the hell do you sound like a pimp? Zhang Chen shook his head. I'm already trying my best to prevent myself and these two comrades from making bigger mistakes. You still want me to just throw money at them? Lu Ligan looked at Zhang Chen and asked. Zhang Chen waved his hand and said to him, "Don't ask me this, I don't understand your world." You don't need to understand, just take care of yourself. The chef in the kitchen came over with a plate of fried green pepper residue and green pepper meat slices. There were also a lot of dried chili peppers added to the 2 green peppers, which greatly increased people's appetite. Lu Ligan tapped the edge of the plate with his chopsticks and shouted, "Master Fu, your green pepper meat slices are the most creative and the most delicious green pepper meat slices I have ever seen in the world. One day when I become the king of some country, I will definitely let you be the royal chef." Master Fu smiled and said, "Okay, you can pick up a supreme emperor for me together." Zhang Chen laughed, and Lu Li raised his thumb, "Wisdom. You are more able to deal with it than Zhuliang's verbal battle with the Confucian scholars." Master Fu smiled and walked out. Zhang Chenzao couldn't hold himself back, picked up the chopsticks, took a piece of oil residue and put it into his mouth. It was really delicious. Zhang Chen picked up the big brother, and Lu Ligan asked him, "What do you want to do? It's so delicious." "I'll ask Xiao Zhao if he wants to come and eat," Zhang Chen said. "Okay, you guys really understand each other, but don't fight, I still have something to discuss with you," Lu Ligan said, grabbing 2 white porcelain teacups from the table, waving his hand, pouring the remaining water in the cups to the foot of the wall, biting open a bottle of Urquatu with his teeth, and poured it into the 2 cups. A bottle of wine filled 2 white porcelain teacups. The 2 people raised it, touched it, and took a big sip. The alcohol content was too high and they didn't dare to take a big sip. They put the cup down and Zhang Chen asked, "What's the matter? Tell me." "I'll dig someone from you," Lu Ligan said. "Who?" "Lao Wan." "What do you want him to do, drive for you?" "No, I want to recruit a construction team and build a house myself." Zhang Chen looked at him and waited for him to continue. Lu Ligan said, "I've been thinking about it these past 2 days. This house is actually the same as your clothes. They are both commodities. Think about it, these clothes cost dozens of yuan, and they also have to pay attention to quality. This house, they cost the least. Tens of thousands, some of which may be a lifetime savings. Is it okay if you don't care about quality? I have thought about it. I, Lu Ligan, not only want to sell the most houses in China, but also build the best houses in China. Once people live in my house, they will feel at ease and get value for money. I will not behind my back, poking my spine and scolding me. Only in this way can I go far. To do this, I must have a reliable construction team myself. Relying on outside ones is not possible. Communication is too difficult. I've been observing Lao Wan for a long time. This guy doesn't have a high level of education, but he can definitely do things. I think he can do what I want. It doesn't matter if he has a low level of education. He can learn, as long as if you put your work attitude into study, you can still become Zhejiang University and Zhejiang Mei." Zhang Chen raised his cup and clinked it with Lu Ligan. He also agreed with Lu Ligan's idea. Either he didn't do it or he built the best house in China. Otherwise, it would be useless. But he wanted to poach Lao Wan. Zhang Chen I felt a little reluctant to give up. Zhang Chen also thought Lao Wan was too useful. But Lu Ligan's next words made Zhang Chen agree immediately. Lu Ligan said, Do you still want Lao Wan to be a driver for the rest of his life? Thank you U185229649 for the tip. Thank you for the monthly votes from Bad Sample, Cloudy and Rainy, and Cup Guy API. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 744. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan then discussed that the maintenance team would soon start recruiting troops. First, they should speed up and complete the entire factory area in Sanbeo. It would no longer be what Zhang Chen originally thought. Slowly do it when you have time. After deciding to set up a construction company, the whole idea was different from the original one. The original maintenance team only considered this project, which was a bit like homemade steel making. In many places, we can save as much as we can, especially a lot of construction equipment. Don't add if you add, because after the project is completed, these equipment will be useless. Now that a construction company is to be established, everything from personnel to equipment must be equipped according to the construction company. The additional construction equipment must be purchased immediately. After the equipment is added, the progress of the construction here will definitely be greatly accelerated. When the work here is completed, the entire maintenance team, including equipment, was handed over to Lu Ligan. The maintenance team is the prototype of the construction company after Lu Ligan. After working here, a construction company will emerge, and the projects here are equivalent to giving them practice. After the construction is completed, they will also have certain construction experience. What are you going to do at the spring factory? Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan said that he had not thought about it well, but no matter what he did, it was not so fast. Zhang Mushan helped me with all the preliminary procedures last time. This time I want to go through it all by myself. By the time the preliminary formalities are completed, it is estimated that the Chinese New Year will be around the corner. In more than a month, Lao Wan and the others will have finished here and will be able to withdraw there just in time. Zhang Chen nodded. While the two were talking, Lao Wan came in with food. Zhang Chen asked Lao Wan to sit down and told Lao Wan what they had just discussed. Of course Lao Wan was happy. The only thing that made him regret was that he couldn't touch the steering wheel. Lu Ligan saw it and said with a smile, "Don't worry, Lao Wan, I will get you a tool truck tomorrow." How can this construction company do without a car? It will definitely have to pull things. If you buy it, put it here first. Yes, I will go there with you when the time comes. Lao Wan chuckled. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, "Lao Wan, go and call Zhao Zhigang over, he also needs to rearrange the arrangements here." Zhao Zhigang came, and Zhang Chen asked him and Lao Wan to sit down with a cup and drink a little. Zhang Chen told Zhao Zhigang about the general matter. He asked him and Lao Wan to recruit people tomorrow morning. He wanted to recruit a driver here. Lao Wan was asked to take charge of the driver, and he also needed to recruit a few handymen. From now on, the maintenance team should not be assigned to do the work of the handymen in the factory. Zhang Chen and Lao Wan said that here, you should recruit people just like a construction company. Once the people are recruited, the maintenance team will be managed according to the requirements and standards of the formal construction team, and the construction will be carried out in accordance with national standards and specifications. For this dormitory building that has not yet started construction, you need to start with the complete set of construction drawings, including the equipment to post the drawings. All construction must be done according to the drawings after reviewing the drawings. Starting from tomorrow, Lao Wan, your main job will not be the captain of the maintenance team in our factory, but the project manager of the construction company. You have to change your role, do you understand? Lao Wan made it clear. The project here is the first project that you, Lao Wan, have tried. After the project is completed, I think we should not do the acceptance inspection ourselves, but ask outsiders to do the acceptance inspection. If the inspection fails, You don't have to take any responsibility. The manager of a construction company. Zhang Chen then said to Lu Ligan, you should give up this idea and find someone else. Lu Ligan understood that Zhang Chen was putting pressure on Lao Wan. He said, okay, Lao Wan, I have confidence in you. In this way, if the project here needs to be reworked due to quality problems, I will bear the cost. Lao Wan, can you give me some relief and save some money? Lao Wan said yes. He recalled the conversation he and Lu Ligan had on that rainy night, sitting on the steps at the entrance of Zhejiang Jingxiudadi Real Estate Co., Limited. It seemed that Mr. Lu had not broken his promise. He really wanted to build a house with more than 5 floors. Lao Wan still remembers what he said at that time. He and Lu Ligan also said to Zhang Chen, don't worry, I will definitely do a good job. Zhang Chen and Zhao Zhigang said that starting from tomorrow, many of the tasks that Lao Wan is responsible for arranging will be arranged by you. You should start to get used to the days without Lao Wan. At the same time, see if there is anyone below who can be responsible for the entire procurement and delivery. As for the cargo business, you bring it up. Does that mean that we will be able to build all the houses here in the first half of next year? Zhao Zhigang asked, also excited. Lu Ligan is right. It won't take the first half of the year, but it will be completed by the end of April. By then, there will be more than 1,000 parking spaces here. Zhao Zhigang, you have to be prepared to be the director of a factory with thousands of people. Also need to strengthen learning. Zhao Zhigang's face turned red and he said yes, there is nothing to be afraid of. If others can do it, I think I can do it too. Have ambition, Lu Ligan said with a smile, come, let's touch. In this city, there are some things that are always out of your sight. Before you notice it, it is quietly sprouting and growing. When you notice it, you will suddenly find that it has already flourished. Mao, swaying in the wind, with a posture that surprises you. Lu Ligan arrived at the office and as soon as he sat down, he heard someone running up from downstairs. Just as Lu Ligan was about to scold him and what he was doing in a panic, Fan Jiangguo had already ran into his office. Look, Mr. Lu. Fan Jiangguo waved a newspaper in his hand. Before Lu Ligan could recover, Fan Jiangguo had already placed the newspaper on his table. Lu Ligan saw that it was today's Qianzhong Evening News and said it was the evening news. But they were actually sold at newsstands early in the morning. The newspapers at that time were very pitiful. They were always called a newspaper, not a newspaper, because it really only had 4 pages. Shanghai's Xinmin Evening News had 8 pages, but its first page was all small page, that is, someone else's half page. The entire newspaper still only has 1 printed sheet. Fan Jiangguo turned over the newspaper, and Lu Ligan was shocked. He saw that the 4th page was also a full-page advertisement for off-the-plan properties. The content was almost a copy of his own advertisement, but the layout was slightly different. The price of each off-the-plan property is also 5,000 yuan. Looking at the house, it is on Jiangguo North Road, past Jianbei Bridge, and almost to Wenhui Road. Lu Ligan felt that the hairs on his body stood up. It seemed that Li Kui had touched Li Gui, and Lu Ligan had met Lu Ligan. The phone on Lu Ligan's desk rang. It was Zhang Chen. He knew without asking that he had seen the Qianzhong Evening News. Zhang Chen had the habit of buying newspapers in the morning. Did you see it? Zhang Chen asked. I saw it. Be careful, the competition is coming. Well, it's not surprising, but it's a little better than you. There are thousands of clothes sellers in Hangzhou, but until now, there are only 2 sellers of off-the-plan properties. Lu Ligan smiled, but felt a little guilty. Zhang Chen said to him, it seems that what you said last night was prophetic. Lu Ligan smiled and said, I said so many things last night, which one of them is the truth and you discovered it? You said you want to build the best house in China. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid of competition. Competition is inevitable. In the end, what everyone is fighting for is quality. I'm also thinking that for a house as expensive as this, I just want to run more. If it takes 10 or 20 minutes, I would rather choose the one with good quality, Zhang Chen said. Lu Ligan nodded and said yes. Everyone has started to run. Let's see who can take one step faster. Running skills and patience are more important than sprinting. There is no sprint in running a business. If you want to sprint, you will be doomed. Because the end is reached. Hey Zhang Chen, did I just create another famous quote? Lu Ligan asked. Get out, Zhang Chen cursed and hung up the phone. Putting down the phone, Lu Ligan asked Fan Jiangguo, do you know where this place is? Fan Jiangguo said he knew. Compared with the location of our house on Makeng Road, what do you think, from the perspective of you Hangzhou people, which one is better? Of course it's us. If they go there, it's okay to go to Wenhui Road. Going further, Dongxin Road and Taiguan are a bit messy. Many places nearby are farmers' houses. They should immediately go to the urban-rural integration area. Come on, our Tianmu Mountain Road is past Hangzhou University and Zhejiang University. They are both university districts, how can we compare them? Fan Jiangguo said. What about the spoke factory? Lu Ligan asked. This place is a little closer to Woolen Square and Yan'an Road, Jifang Road, the city center of Hangzhou, but compared with Gongchen Bridge is more like the city. Oh, why? Lu Ligan was curious. The people at Gongchen Bridge are all old-school Hangcheng people, Fan Jiangguo said. Lu Ligan nodded and understood. Fan Jiangguo said that this is the city map in the minds of Hangzhou people. This is more important to them who are engaged in real estate than the actual map. Sijiking is very close to Jifang Road. From Qingtai Street and across the Qingtai overpass, there is Sijiking. However, people in Hangzhou think that Sijiking is in the countryside. Zayawai is further away than Sijiking, but people in Hangzhou feel that Zayawai is the old city of Hangzhou. Just like Yang and Lu Ligan said at the beginning, Hangzhou people would rather live in Kawai than in Siji. Green means that if you build a house and sell it, Zayawai's house will definitely be more expensive than Sijiking's. The mental map of a city citizen is often more lagging behind than the geographical map, and the reasons and history of its formation are also more complex. Lu Ligan stood up and said to Fan Jiangguo, let's go and see this place. They arrived at the place on Jiangguo North Road mentioned in the newspaper and found that this was a railway or a freight yard of some large enterprise. The walls of the freight yard had not yet been demolished. There were freight cars parked on the rails inside, and the gantry crane overhead was still there. Work. Lu Ligan laughed when he saw it. He felt that the boss was too impatient. Such a scene would frighten people who came to buy off-the-plan properties. People would be confused when they saw it, let alone building it. When did you even start here? I started to dismantle it, and I didn't even know yet. Lu Ligan continued to drive forward and saw someone setting up a tent in a recessed part of the wall in front of him. Lu Ligan parked his car on the side of the road and looked at them. They were obviously learning from him and were building a sales office, but my sales office is built at the project site after all, and there is a busy construction site next to it. This illustrates the problem. What does it mean if you build it outside the wall? At any rate, knock down a section of the wall and build it inside the fence. This way people can see that you have started construction and broken down the wall. This is why Lu Ligan made sure to let Zhang Mushan and the others rush into the scene. The reason is that off-plan properties are still a new thing in Hangzhou. People always have doubts about the emergence of any new thing. You must get rid of people's doubts. Lu Ligan concluded that this guy must have only signed an agreement of intent with the owner of the goods yard and did not pay any money at all, or only paid a deposit of tens of thousands of yuan. He wanted to wait until the off-plan property was sold before paying the money. Woolen cloth. Although Lu Ligan had no money when he was selling off the plant properties, he had already tricked Zhang Mushan into getting a deposit, and so much work had already been done at Yiming Food Factory in the early stage. He and Yiming Food Factory, a formal agreement had been signed long ago, so he already had control over that site. Lu Ligan judged that this guy would probably mess up this place. He made two fatal mistakes. First, he did not do enough preliminary work. He did not have control over this place at all. The most they could do was turn a blind eye. Just close one eye and let you fool me. What's more, the most fatal thing is that they put a place for selling off the plant properties on the spot. Doesn't this mean I'm calling, come, and take a look, see if I haven't prepared anything here yet? When a crowd gathers, as long as one person raises this question in the crowd, the question will spread quickly and eventually drown you. If Dong Shi follows his example, you should at least find out if 11 Shi has body odor or stomach problems. Lu Ligan cursed in his heart. Thank you book friend 202005271505190557 for the reward. Thank you Sun Tongfei, Lu, Yuga C comes out of the wall, and Cheng Shanming, bronze, 1890-798-3117 for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 745. Lu Ligan saw that there was a person directing the tents to be set up at the scene. This guy should be the boss here, that is, the Lu Ligan. Looking from a distance, Lu Ligan felt that this guy seemed a bit familiar. He should be there. I've seen it somewhere, but I can't remember it. Lu Ligan felt that they might have met in Haikan. He and Meng Ping had met too many people in Haikan. After meeting these people, they would forget about it. Only those who continued to deal with would remember, especially in the days when a huge wave is coming and the building is about to collapse. Those people you meet every day will almost turn around and forget about it. Lu Ligan saw the guy and looked over here from time to time. He looked familiar to him. He might also know him. It was very possible. Otherwise, why would they have been observing him secretly? Lu Ligan started the car and turned the direction. The car did not go forward, but turned around on the spot and went back. After returning to the company, Lu Ligan immediately called Wen Wenqian and Ying Ying up, and told them that you will go back to the splendid home sales department tomorrow. The remaining 4 buildings will be sold tomorrow, and the price will still be 1,281 square meters, full payment. Lu Ligan felt that he could not continue to hoard these houses. If he kept hoarding any more, there might be problems, because now he had a comparison. The other party's house price was set at 1,180, which was obviously for his own benefit. It costs 1,280 yuan, and if the sales situation is not ideal, the other party is likely to reduce the price, which will set off a wave of price wars. The other party's house has not been sold yet, so there is room for price reduction. But for me, 1,200 and 800 is already my floor price, and there is no way to lower it. If you lower it, those who have bought houses at this price will lose it. Will come to cause trouble. He also needs to sell these houses to collect funds and go all out to work on the spring factory project. From a geographical point of view, the spring factory is also better than the other party. Wen Wen and Qian immediately became excited when they heard that all 4 houses were for sale. Lu Ligan and Ying Ying said, "Go with them and learn how to sell a house." "Okay, Mr. Lu," Ying Ying said. The 3 of them were about to go down when Lu Ligan stopped them again. Lu Ligan said, "In this case, don't sell it for 1,280 square meters, but sell it for 1,381 square meters. Wen Wenqian and Ying Ying both agreed. Lu Ligan felt that as soon as he started selling here, the other party would definitely know it. If he still pressed 1,280, the other party would see his cowardice and become more arrogant. At the same time, the 100 yuan offered, not only is it a demonstration to the other party, it will also stimulate the customers who want to buy houses, giving them the feeling that houses here are always rising. He had done more preliminary preparations than the other party, his property was a ready-made property, and the location of his property was better than the other party's, so Lu Ligan bet him 200 yuan. When Ying Ying went down, Lu Ligan asked her to call Fan Jiangguo up. After Fan Jiangguo came up, Lu Ligan said to him that they would start buying off the plan properties tomorrow. You can ask your scalper friends at night. They will probably buy it tomorrow. How many scalpers are there? Call me after you find out. Fan Jiangguo said yes. Also, you should go over there tomorrow and take a look at their sales throughout the day, especially paying attention to the price changes in off-the-plan property transactions outside. Fan Jiangguo agreed, and he said, then tomorrow, there will be no one here, and those sets will go to Ma Cheng Road again. Don't worry about this, I'm here, Lu Ligan said. Fan Jiangguo looked at him and smiled, and Lu Ligan scolded, what, you think my appearance is not as good as yours? No, Fan Jiangguo said, it's you who can't sit still in the office. It makes you feel uncomfortable even if you don't move for 10 minutes. Lu Ligan also laughed. He said yes, you better understand me. If not, he would close the shop for a day. Fan Jiangguo went down, and Lu Ligan was alone in the office, lost in thought. He was thinking about whether he should let the other party mess up tomorrow. However, this is a dangerous matter. If it is not done well, the game of selling off the plan properties will not continue in Hangzhou, and people will be silent about the sale of off-the-plan properties. When they want to sell off-the-plan properties, they will not be able to sell them. If it can't be sold, it can't be sold. Lu Ligan feels that if this off-the-plan property sale is really as popular in Hangzhou as it is in Haikan, it may not be a good thing for himself or the entire real estate market in Hangzhou. Everyone sells it. If you don't move the pre-sale property, you can pre-sell it. After all, your project will have been implemented and the land certificate will be obtained. This is more systematic than selling the pre-sale property, which is a pie in the sky. Now that I have taken the first step, I have to raise the threshold of the entire Hangzhou real estate market and standardize everyone's behavior. It's okay to play, but no one should overdo it for me. Even something like this is still floating in the sky. And dare to use it to fool people and defraud money. When Lu Ligan heard someone coming up, he thought it was Fan Jiangguo. But when the person came in, it was Lao Wan and Wu Zayawai. Lu Ligan was surprised and asked Lao Wan, didn't you go to recruit workers this morning? Wu Zayawai walked in front, and Lao Wan walked behind Wu Zayawai. He stretched out his hands and patted Wu Zayawai's shoulders and said, my master has no time in the afternoon, so we are here now. He understands trucks. There is no rush to recruit workers. Zhao's Higang and I will go there in the afternoon. Lu Ligan laughed in his heart, okay, the steering wheel is more important. Lu Ligan stood up and said okay, let's go. When they arrived at the car market, there were not many varieties of double cab trucks, but the prices were very different. A 2-ton Yuezhan car cost 39,500, while a 1.75-ton Zhongling was priced at 39,500. It cost 129,000, but Wu Zayawai still suggested buying a JMC. He said that one was a classic car and this one was made with Japanese technology and would not break down. It's an exaggeration, but the truth must be correct, otherwise it wouldn't be the case. This car is almost 3 times the price of the other one. Lu Ligan said, what about this? He was referring to a Qingling that also weighed 1.75 tons and sold for 139,000. They are the same. They are both Isuzu technologies. This 10,000 yuan is unreasonably expensive. The difference between the two is that one is made in Jiangxi and this one is made in Chongqing. It is better to buy Zhongling. Sometimes it repairs the car. Sometimes, some spare parts have to be sent from the factory. Jiangzi is closer and more convenient, Wu Zhaowei said. Lu Ligan scolded, you said earlier that this car wouldn't break down, and now you're talking about repairing the car with parts. Before Lu Ligan finished speaking, Wu Zhaowei glared at him, who guarantees that there will be no accidents while driving? If there is an accident, don't you want to repair it? If you drive like this normally, there is nothing wrong with it? Okay, you are the biggest in terms of cars. You are right. Then we will buy a JMC, Lu Ligan said quickly. After buying a car, the three people drove 3 cars. Instead of driving to Sanbeo, they drove to Stadium Road first. Zhang Chen heard that the newly bought car had arrived, and ran downstairs to take a look. He also thought the car was good. He told Lu Ligan that maybe next time, I would buy a car like this too, which I could use for commuting to and from get off work. It can also be used for pulling things. Lu Ligan glared at him and cursed, do you think you are an American? Why are you American again? Zhang Chen wondered. Only American bosses like to drive tool trucks, Lu Ligan said. Nonsense, that's a pickup truck, not a tool truck, Wu Zhaowei scolded. Lu Ligan was stunned for a moment, and he chuckled. He really didn't know until today that the pickup truck and the tool truck are not the same kind of vehicles. When Hongmei came downstairs and saw the new car, she made sure Lao Wan gave her the key and she wanted to drive it around. Lu Ligan walked over and hugged her. Hongmei struggled and screamed, it's indecent, catch the gangsters. Lu Ligan said, don't scream. If you scream again, you will rape him first and then kill him. Hongmei shut up and even closed her eyes. Lu Ligan took her aside and said to her, Yeo Mei, do me a favor. After this favor is done, you can drive it back to Chongqing if you want. Hongmei broke away from him and shouted, you say it, you say it. In the evening, Fan Jiangguo called Lu Ligan and told him, tomorrow, almost all the scalpers my friends and others know will go to Mazi and our real estate. They are addicted to speculating on off-the-shelf properties. As expected, Lu Ligan sneered in his heart. The next day, a lot of people gathered here on Jiangguo North Road. The team lined up from the tents to Jiangguo North Road, spreading along the sidewalk towards the back. There were more people standing on tiptoes, watching. In the goods yard with the head-high low wall, they were muttering something, but they did not join the queue. Seeing more and more people here, a girl in the queue shouted, no, 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 this is a lie. What kind of off-plan building? You can't even see the demolition of this place. When will it start? Build a house? The people around her looked at her, and the girl walked out of the queue and said, forget it, if you don't stand in line, you will definitely be trapped. Some people who had already bought off the plan properties came over and said unconvinced, you know what the heck, you know how much the price of the splendid home off the plan properties has gone up. I heard it has gone up again today. The girl sneered, I don't know or you don't know. She took out 2 invoices from her pocket and said to the man, have you seen it? You mentioned the off-plan property of splendid home. Take it out and take a look. I am the one with these 2. I am sure that it will always go up, I didn't sell it, you understand, I understand. The man blushed at what the girl said, and the girl continued, can these 2 places be the same? In the splendid home, half of the houses have been built, but here, the train is still running inside. Those who were not in the queue at the front had doubts in their hearts, but now they felt that what the girl said made sense, and they all said, yes, yes, that's what happened. If I don't buy it, if I don't buy it, I might as well buy a house in splendid home. Although it costs a little more, it is more reliable and will rise faster, the girl shouted. The price has gone up again today, someone shouted. Really? Then I'll go there quickly. The girl saw a staff member walking towards her. She turned around and got into the car parked on the side of the road and drove away. They all drove cars, which made her words even more convincing. The team nearby dispersed at that time, and many people went to the tent in front and gathered around the staff who was issuing tickets and asked, "Hey, when will the construction of your houses here start?" The staff looked at them and each other, speechless. Fan Jiangguo was surprised when he saw He Hongmei lining up in front of him. Just as he was about to go over and say hello, he saw the scene in front of him. Fan Jiangguo laughed to death in his heart. It turned out that this guy was here to make trouble. Fan Jiangguo watched He Hongmei drop a bomb and drive away. He followed many people and crowded into the tent. When he heard someone asking, Fan Jiangguo shouted in the crowd, "I don't know what the gimmick is, and I'm still selling off the plan properties. I think you're selling shit. Please take out the land certificate first and take a look." Everyone woke up and shouted, "Yes, yes, please take out the land certificate first and see if this place belongs to you." There was a mess on Jiangguo North Road. Many people who had bought off the plan properties wanted to withdraw their property. After a while, the traffic police and 110 who were maintaining order came over. "Thank you Li Rujin and Murin for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 746. Lu Ligan was waiting for Fan Jiangguo in the office. He thought he would not come back until after 5 o'clock. Unexpectedly, Fan Jiangguo came back excitedly just after 1 o'clock. As soon as he entered Lu Ligan's office, Lu Ligan had not yet come back. When he opened his mouth, he chuckled. "It's a mess, it's a mess, it's over." "What's wrong?" Lu Ligan asked. "We're having a quarrel, we're making a big fuss, we're going to the police station." Fan Jiangguo laughed. It turned out that after He Hongmei left, Fan Jiangguo made such a noise again, and the people present started to make a fuss, asking them to get the land certificate to prove that this place belonged to them. No matter what those people said, they couldn't produce the land certificate. Those who had already bought the off-the-plan property panicked and wanted to return the property if they were willing to do anything. When the boss saw that the situation was not good, he ran away. The money for setting up the company, renting an office, advertising, and paying the deposit to Partia were all borrowed. How could he return the money that was already in his bag? Manage. So he quietly slipped away with a bag of money. A vice president was in charge at the scene. The vice president said that he had no control over the refund and that he had to ask the boss. In fact, he wanted to refund but he had no money. But the boss can't be found. Many of those who bought off the plan properties are scalpers. How can these scalpers be willing to do anything? They have some experience in dealing with such things and know that it is impossible to make money now. If they want to recover their losses, the only way this matter can be solved is because there are so many victims, and the matter gets bigger and the government steps in. They started a riot on the spot, smashed up the sales office, and detained people there to prevent them from leaving, calling them liars. There were so many people making trouble on Jiangguo North Road and the traffic was blocked. The traffic police and 110 came immediately. After 110 arrived, the vice president insisted that they were not liars and that they really wanted to build buildings here and sell them. 110 asked them to get proof. And what they were able to come up with was exactly what Lu Ligan expected, which was a letter of intent. They also wanted to use the money they got from selling off the plan properties to pay Party A. When they signed the letter of intent, they paid Party A deposit of 50,000 yuan. The police also know that this letter of intent does not mean that this land is already yours. There must be something wrong with them selling this off the plan property here, but the boss can't be found, so they have to find party A after all, you are also with them. If you signed the letter of intent and collected the deposit, you are also responsible for this. The person in charge of party A knew that the matter was getting serious, so he hid and refused to come forward. So the 110 office had no choice but to take the vice president back to the police station and ask all those who bought off the plan properties to register at the police station first. They will immediately report to their superiors how to deal with it. Everyone went to the police station, but Fan Jiangguo came back without following them. Fan Jiangguo and Lu Ligan said that his friends suffered big losses this time, and they could not sell the off-the-plan properties they bought for 5,000 yuan for 4,000 yuan. That Sichuan girl is amazing, her acting skills are very good, Fan Jiangguo said. Lu Ligan laughed. He was very proud of himself. He felt that his move was so beautiful. But at the same time, he felt a little uneasy. He felt that he was being too cruel. The boss might be punished by him now. Die. Mr. Lu, if someone wants to be a follower again from now on, shouldn't they think about it? Fan Jiangguo asked, and he laughed. Lu Ligan also laughed. He felt that this game of buying and selling off the plan properties would probably disappear in Hangzhou. If someone sells off the plan properties again, it would not only be a question of whether there are people to buy them, but also the final result of what happened this time. What will happen, and how big the impact will be. He knew that the police station was not capable of handling this matter. The district government or even the city government would definitely handle it next. If this is the case, then this time, the relevant government departments will be frightened. If someone comes to sell off the plan properties again, they will immediately become alert and check the situation of your company first. In this way, is it possible for this game of selling off the plan properties to continue? Any person who sells off the plan property doesn't just want to get away with nothing, taking the next house to pay for the first house. How can they withstand prior scrutiny? How many off the plan properties have they sold? Lu Ligan asked. 200 hairs. So many? How many off the plan properties are they planning to sell in total? With so many units already sold, Lu Ligan felt that this matter could not be a big deal. More than 1,300, Fan Jiangguo said. More than 1,300, Lu Ligan was surprised. Fan Jiangguo nodded and said yes. It was written on the scene that it was the largest real estate in Hangzhou, a super large residential complex with more than 1,300 households and the most complete supporting facilities. Lu Ligan was full of doubts. He found yesterday's newspaper and looked at it. He saw that it also said that each building was a 6-story multi-story building, with 2 households per staircase, and each apartment was 65 square meters. Used exclusively by My Way. Lu Ligan took out the calculator from the drawer and pressed it. Lu Ligan had visited the goods yard yesterday. It covered an area of about the same size as Yiming Food Factory, about 42 or 3 acres. Even if he visually inspected it, it was wrong, it can't be 3 or 4 acres. 3 or 4 acres is about 2,000 square meters. How could there be such a big error? Lu Ligan cleared the numbers on the calculator and calculated again, thinking as he did so. No matter how wrong he is, no matter how blind he is, the place is worth 50 acres, which is a total of 33,300 square meters. According to the highest floor area ratio of 1.8 for multi-story buildings, the construction area is only 59,000 square meters. The number of square meters is less than 60,000. If divided by 65 square meters per house, we can only build more than 920 houses at most. How did we come up with these more than 1,300 houses? Besides, there is no way there is 50 acres there. Lu Ligan took a breath of cold air. He felt that the apology he had just made to the guy suddenly disappeared. This guy had evil intentions from the beginning. It is very possible that he signed the letter of intent and paid the deposit just to draw a pie in the air and defraud money. And his whole scam was based on observing his own sales. Get inspiration from the off-plan buildings of splendid home. He might as well have accidentally become not the godfather of real estate in Hangzhou, but the teacher of swindlers. A man stuck his head through the door, saw that there were only two of them in the office, and walked in. Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo both laughed when they saw the visitor. Fan Jiangguo laughed and said, "The Emperor Superstar is here." He Hongmei looked at him and asked, "Oh Sashi," she also learned the Hangzhou dialect and asked Fan Jiangguo what he said. Then she asked Lu Ligan, "How is it? Is it effective?" Lu Ligan pointed at Fan Jiangguo and said, "He has already given a positive answer to your performance today." When he Hongmei heard this, she understood what Fan Jiangguo's Emperor Superstar meant. She giggled and asked, "How's it going? Tell me what's going on there? I saw them coming, and I ran away. My heart was still pounding when I got in the car. I was afraid they would follow me, so I didn't dare to go directly. I came here and walked around the West Lake to make sure there were no cars following me, then I drove here. Yes, if you had been born a few decades earlier, you would have been Yoshiko Kawashima." Lu Ligan laughed and told He Hongmei about the scene there, and also told them his suspicions. He Hongmei cursed, it turned out to be a liar, and he deserved it. If I had known this, I wouldn't have run away. I should have exposed them on the spot. Then if you cut off people's financial opportunities like this, you might really be raped first and then killed." Lu Ligan scolded. Fan Jiangguo also came to his senses and asked, "Mr. Lu, are you saying that these people spent 50,000 yuan and signed a letter of intent? If they hadn't been messed up by us today and more than 1,300 off-the-plan properties were sold, they would have received more than 6 million yuan? Lu Lepol nodded. Then no one knows whether they built a house or not, Fan Jiangguo asked. It will take at least a few months before this trick is exposed. Scalpers like your friends who buy and sell off-the-plan properties will not care whether the houses there are built or not. They only care about whether the off-the-plan properties can be sold. Yes, that's right. Only when the person who really wants to buy a house sees why there is no movement there, and becomes anxious, will he go around to inquire about it, and realize that the land has not been changed yet. How about a few more months, Lu Ligan said. At that time, these bastards might not even know where to escape, He Hongmei scolded. You're such an obi, I'm poaching your mother, Fan Jiangguo was furious, and finally cursed the best curse words in Hangzhou. In order to praise He Hongmei, Lu Ligan agreed to invite her and Zhang Chen to eat spicy fish at a newly opened spicy fish pot restaurant on Zhongshan North Road in the evening. He Hongmei then returned to Stadium Road. Lu Ligan asked Fan Jiangguo to stay in the company while he went to the Jingxiu Homes sales office at the junction of Tianmushan Road and Meyang Road. When Lu Ligan saw the sales office, in addition to Wen Qian and Ying Ying, there were 2 bank employees and 2 security guards. There was a cash transport truck parked at the door. He knew that today's sales were good. This was the bank's usual practice. Door-to-door service again. In the sales office, there were still 4 or 5 customers going through the formalities. In such a cold weather, Wen and Kin's faces were flushed, and beads of sweat appeared on their foreheads. At that time, most of the people who came to buy houses came with cash. They handed the cash to Wen and Qian, and Wen and Qian handed it to Yingying behind them. Yingying passed the money twice on the banknote detector, confirmed that it was correct, and handed the money to the bank clerk at the opposite table. The bank clerk ran it through their own banknote detector twice to confirm that it was correct. On a pre-filled payment slip of 89,700 yuan, the bank seal and the clerk's personal seal were stamped. Give it to Yingying. Wen and Qian then handed the receipt to the house purchaser who was waiting aside. Over there, the bank staff also put the money into the iron cash box. When Wen and Qian saw Lu Ligan coming, they didn't have time to say anything to him. Yingying told him that 83 houses had been sold. Today, many customers said that I came from Jiangguo North Road. Why do they all come from Jiangguo North Road, Mr. Lu? Ying Ying asked Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan smiled and said, I don't know either. Lu Ligan's big brother rang. He picked up the call and a loud voice came out. Lu Ligan quickly said, Hello, Director Lu. Mr. Lu, where are you now? Lu Cheng asked. I'm at the Jinxiu home, the sales department of my company, Lu Ligan said. Mr. Lu, can you come to the conference room on the third floor of Gongsha District Government immediately? I'll wait for you here. Okay, Director Lu, I'll be right over. Lu Ligan hurriedly left the sales department, got into his car and left. He had a premonition that Director Lu calling him now and asking him to go to the Gongsha District Government conference room must be related to the incident on Jiangguo North Road. It seems that this matter is really big. Thanks for the tip, B.A. Liang. Thank you B.A. Liang, Lu, and book friends 130221184047110 for your monthly votes. Thank you for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 747. When Lu Ligan arrived at the Gongsha District Government Conference Room, the conference room was already full of people. In addition to Director Lu, there were also the District Chief and Deputy Chief of Gongsha District, as well as the Urban Public Security, Industrial and Commercial, and Civil Affairs Management departments. And the head of the Urban Construction Department. The only two people here who are not from government agencies, besides Lu Ligan, are Partia who finally showed up, the director of Hangcheng Foundry General Factory. The goods yard is used by their foundry to store coke. Now that the company is about to close down, the goods yard has long been of no use. It has been rented to others since last year. Now that the lease term is about to expire, it is simply ready to be sold. Director Lu saw Lu Ligan coming in and asked him to sit next to him. He asked Lu Ligan in a low voice, Have you heard about Jiangguo North Road? Lu Ligan nodded and said, I heard a little bit, but the specific situation is not very clear. Director Lu nodded, looked at the district chief sitting on the other side of him, clapped his hands, and the conference room became quiet. Director Lu said, Okay, everyone is here. We are going to have a meeting right away. Before the meeting, I will introduce to you a guest I invited. Today's incident happened because of the sale of off-the-plan property, but I listened for a long time and everyone said, I don't know anything about real estate, and I have only a partial understanding of what an off-the-plan property is, so how can I determine the nature of today's matter and how can I solve the problem? I invited an expert, Mr. Lu Ligan, the general manager of Zhejiang Jinxiu Dadi Real Estate Co., Limited. I believe that everyone has heard of his company even if they don't know him. Well, let's welcome him first. The people present applauded, and Director Lu asked the director of the District Public Security Bureau to introduce today's situation to everyone. What the director introduced was similar to what Lu Ligan knew. After the introduction, the director said, The difficulty with this matter now is that based on the current situation and evidence we know, we have no way to identify this matter. We have no way to say for sure whether this should be handled by our police or by the director and others in industry and commerce. Have you found the boss of this company? Director Lu asked. The director said no, but Factory Director Lao is here, and Factory Director Lao confirmed that the letter of intent was authentic. In this way, without more evidence, it would be difficult for us to determine whether this was an illegal operation or suspected of fraud. Director Lu asked Lu Ligan, Mr. Lu, what do you think? Lu Ligan asked Director Lao, what is the area of the goods yard you agreed to transfer? Director Lao said, 42.3 acres. Lu Ligan asked the District Bureau Director, Director Chen, how much are their on-site advertisements and the off-the-plan properties they are selling this morning? 1,332. "Who has yesterday's evening newspaper?" Lu Ligan asked. "I have it here," Director Chen said, handing over a newspaper. Lu Ligan said, "I don't think this is a normal off-the-plan property sales behavior. It can even be judged that they are not operating illegally," as Director Chen said. "I think this is a premeditated fraud." Everyone in the conference room sat upright when they heard this. Director Chen asked, "Mr. Lu, what is the basis for you to draw this conclusion?" Lu Ligan took out the calculator he brought from the car from his bag. While he was calculating, he said, "Director Lau just said that this land covers an area of 42.3 acres, which is 28,197 square meters. According to their advertisement, a 6-story house costs 65 square meters, then the maximum floor area ratio for multi-story buildings in our country is 1.8, which means that the maximum building area of this land is 50,755 square meters. Lu Ligan pressed the calculator and continued. "Divided by 65 square meters per house, that is to say, on this piece of land, they can build up to 780 houses, which means they can have 780 off-the-plan properties, and they sell 1,332, then, where are the other 552 houses? It is impossible for a real estate company not to be able to calculate even the simplest arithmetic. If they really want to build houses to sell, this only shows that they have no intention of building houses at all. The one they signed with the labor director, the letter of intent is just to buy everyone's property." Everyone suddenly realized it. Director Lu looked at Director Chen and asked, "Are you clear?" Director Chen stood up with a smile, "It's clear, I'll arrange the pursuit right away." He looked at the leader of the municipal bureau, who waved his hand, and he went out immediately. Director Lu looked at the director of the Urban Construction Bureau. The director smiled sheepishly and said, "I'm not an expert. I can't tell at a glance. I didn't pay attention to this issue of floor area ratio." Director Lu pointed at him with his finger. The district chief leaned over and exchanged a few words with Director Lu. Director Lu nodded, looked at the people in the conference room, and said, "Now there is no question about the characterization of this incident. It is a fraud, but it takes time for the police to pursue it. Even if someone is caught, it is still unknown whether the stolen money can be recovered and how much can be recovered. But what is urgent now is that the victims, are so many of them, are still waiting for our reply. How do you think they can solve their problems?" There was silence in the conference room for a moment, and everyone understood that this was the most troublesome issue. The simplest way to solve this problem is money. Return the money to everyone and the matter will be over. But for the governments at all levels at that time, what they lacked most was money. Even if they had this money, they would not have this projects. Every money in each department must be earmarked for special use, and cannot be easily diverted to other uses. At that time, local governments at all levels were really very poor. The main reason was that their fiscal revenue came from a single source, which was tax revenue from urban industrial and commercial enterprises. But at that time, there were not many enterprises that were truly large-scale and profitable, so their income was limited. On the other hand, their burden is even more prominent. Each level of government has a large number of local state-owned and collective enterprises. Most of these enterprises are in a state of suspension or semi-suspended production. Not only do they have no profits and taxes to pay, but in turn the government also needs constant blood transfusions. So in those years, local governments all over the country made great efforts to clean up and rectify these unprofitable enterprises. On the other hand, they developed various types of markets and economic open zones and vigorously supported the development of private enterprises. Only then did they slowly get out of trouble slowly. But the real life started to get better, which also stems from the management of cities and land management 2,000 years later. Land collection and storage centers have been established in various places and land collection and storage systems have been formulated. Local governments have monopolized the primary market of land. Brought them huge benefits. A local official once made a bold statement, saying that just selling a piece of land can be worth a year's tax revenue of a development zone. Although the words were harsh, the reality later is that the eastern coastal provinces and cities are indeed doing this. Various economic development zones that were developed through hard work in the past few years have been closed down and turned into real estate development zones. Hangzhou, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and other places were the first cities to experiment with land acquisition and storage systems, and the experience gained, almost without exception, was from Hong Kong. These are all things for later. Director Liu looked at everyone, but no one dared to express their opinion. They all knew that this was a hot potato that they could not swallow. It was the director of the Urban Construction Bureau who said, "Director Lau, you are also responsible for this matter. Shouldn't you shoulder this burden?" Other people also talked about it and all agreed. The elder of the labor factory was in charge of himself while drinking tea. When they all finished, the factory director said, "Yes, our factory can take on this responsibility, Director Liu. As long as the city allocates the money, we will do the specific work." Director Lau's words made everyone speechless. Yes, this foundry is a municipal enterprise. It is already half dead and needs relief from the municipal government. Now let them get the money. They where to get it? In the end, it's not the wool that comes from the sheep, it's the city government's responsibility. Director Liu was also a little angry, thinking, okay, the matter is in your district, but you all want to hand over this responsibility, so I become your butt wiper? It was Lao Ying, the director of the Municipal Industry and Commerce Bureau. He knew Lu Ligan. The last time he dealt with Wei Venfang and the others, they met during a meeting with Director Liu. Lao Ying looked at Lu Ligan, then at Director Liu, and said, "Director Liu, I have a suggestion." "Say, Director Ying. The boss of this real estate company has escaped, but isn't this land still there? My idea is that Mr. Liu can take over this project and continue to work on it. Those who have bought off the plant properties and want to return them, Mr. Liu will refund them to him. If you don't want to quit, just sign a new agreement with Mr. Liu and his company." Everyone's eyes lit up and they felt that this was really a solution, but Lu Ligan secretly complained in his heart, "What do you mean? He spent a long time demolishing the mess, but in the end he wanted to take over the mess, and that bastard ran away. Do you have to bear the money yourself?" Lao Ying asked Director Lao, "Director Lao, what was the transfer price of your original letter of intent?" $2.5 million, Director Lao said. "The building sold now costs $815,000. In this way, after you sign the transfer contract, Mr. Liu will give you the remaining $1.335 million. In this way, Mr. Liu will not suffer any loss, and the police will over there, whatever is recovered at that time will be transferred to you, and won't this matter be solved?" Before anyone else could speak, the district chief immediately said, "I agree with Director Ying's suggestion. This is the fastest and most thorough solution to this problem." Director Liu thought for a moment, and he thought this was a good idea. He looked at Lu Ligan and asked, "Mr. Liu, are you feeling any pressure?" Lu Ligan was already chuckling in his heart. How could he suffer from this algorithm? He said, "Okay, if Director Liu thinks it is necessary, then we will take over." "Okay, that's it? Director Lao, no matter how late it is today, you still sign this agreement with Mr. Liu. The Public Security Bureau will be responsible for informing the victims of the results of this matter. Starting tomorrow, they will have to refund, or if you want to re-sign the house purchase contract, go to Mr. Liu's company." Director Liu made the final decision, and everyone felt that this was really the best result. Even Factory Director Lao felt that although it is still unknown how much the police can recover in the end, since it was decided by big shots like you, the money is not my own. Even if I haven't recovered a penny, and the responsibility is not on me, Why should I object? Everyone got up and prepared to end the meeting. Director Lu clapped his hands and said to everyone, "Next, Mr. Lu will go to each of your units to complete the procedures. You all give me the green light. If there is any difficulty or deliberate delay, I, Lu Changcheng, will sit in your office." Everyone laughed, and someone shouted, "Don't worry, Director Lu, you are such a big bodhisattva. Our temple is too small to invite you." Lu Ligan was filled with joy. Wasn't he given the green light? Then you only open the project for the foundry? Are you going to give the green light to my next spring factory project? I'm afraid, you won't be able to control it then. Isn't it said that once you are familiar with me, you will become familiar with me twice? If I, Lu Lizan, come back the next time, will you still be familiar with me? Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei ate at the Spicy Fish Hot Pot restaurant on Zhongshan North Road until about 8 o'clock in the evening. They almost finished the pot of fish before Lu Ligan ran in. He Hongmei cursed, "I thought you were going to skip the bill today, but you came just in time and the waiter paid the bill." Lu Ligan glared at her and shouted, "Why skip the order? I'm starving. Waiter, give us another pot." Thank you to the blind man for watching the pantomime Z, you can rest, and the reward of 80 taels. Thank you Jianxiong 11, I wish you the best, it may rain sometimes, and Cup Guy API for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the reading and votes. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 748. Lu Ligan told Zhang Chen and the others what happened in the afternoon, and He Hongmei immediately asked, "Then you signed the agreement?" "If I didn't sign, would I be so late?" Lu Ligan said with a smile. "Haha, then your pot of fish is not enough to thank me." "Okay, how many pots do you want?" "I'll ask the waiter to serve it right away, or I'll put you in the fish pond." "Go away, keep track of the accounts for me, not counting today, there will be another 100 times." "Okay, then 100 times," Lu Ligan said. "There is no limit to fish, other items are also allowed," He Hongmei said. "Okay, there's no limit to fish, you can also eat anything else," Lu Ligan smiled, "but you want to eat your boyfriend, and I don't have one." "Don't worry, this is the last thing I want to eat." "That's no problem," Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen asked with a smile, "Are you done fighting?" "Okay," Lu Lipole nodded. "What are you going to do next?" Zhang Chen asked. "I haven't thought about it yet. By the way, let me borrow Zhao Jingjing tomorrow. I want them to return all the off-plan properties first." Zhang Chen said yes. "Why are you so stingy that you can't bear to recruit a financial person?" He Hongmei asked. "Who said that I didn't recruit people? I have already recruited accountants and cashiers, but they are not in place yet. Let me ask you, what if someone refuses to return the purchase tomorrow?" He Hongmei asked. "Impossible." "Why?" "The mountain man has his own clever plan. If you want to know, come and help tomorrow." "No, I'm going to Sijiking to deliver goods tomorrow." Xiao Zhao didn't understand either, so she asked, "Gangzi, why do you want to withdraw all the off-plan properties? We can't do this anymore. If we do it again, there will be a lot of scammers and the entire real estate industry in Hangzhou will be destroyed." Lu Ligan said, "Whether it is here or the Spring Factory, I want to set a standard." "What standard?" Xiao Zhao asked. "Currently, the country's laws and regulations on real estate are still very unstandardized. There are gaps in many aspects, and it is easy for people to take advantage of loopholes. But to put it bluntly, we are not taking advantage of the loopholes in the regulations, but taking advantage of the pockets of home buyers. Buying a house is equivalent to taking risks and gambling. How can such a market thrive? I just want to fill this loophole." "Only you?" Zhang Chen asked, "Is it possible?" "Perhaps, you should learn from others. If someone imitates me in selling off the plan properties, Why can't they learn something better from me? My two properties have established standards, and they have to learn even if they don't want to. Yes, my ideological level is very high, and I can join the party, he Hongmei said. Go, I am doing this for myself in the end. I am just using my first mover advantage to raise the threshold. Not just any cat or dog can come in. In this way, I am protecting myself and eliminating a lot of competition. Those who have stood outside the threshold, especially those barbarians. Gangzi, I believe you can do it. Come on, congratulations first. Xiao Zhao raised his glass, Zhang Chen, He Hongmei, and Lu Ligan also raised their glasses, and everyone clinked their glasses. The next day, Zhang Chen not only sent Zhao Jingjing there, but also asked Lao Wan to bring a few people from the maintenance team to help. He was worried that there would be so many people coming today that Lu Ligan would not be able to cope with them. Sure enough, before 9 o'clock, a lot of people gathered at the door of Lu Ligan's company. Wen Wenqian and Ying Ying went to Ma Cheng Road again. Only Lu Ligan and Fan were left in the company. When Jiangguo saw Zhao Jingjing and Lao Wan coming with their people, Lu Ligan was overjoyed. Those scalpers were frightened yesterday and knew that they could get their money back without any loss today, so they hurriedly came to refund the off-the-plan property. But those who really needed to buy a house were relieved when they found out that Lu Ligan and others took over the project. They refused to return the pre-planned property and only agreed to re-sign the house purchase contract. Lu Ligan assured them that although their off-plan property had been refunded, they would still have priority when buying a house next time, and the price would definitely not be higher than 1,180. In this case, they also agreed to give up all the off-plan property. Return. After 2 days of busy work, all the off-plan properties were returned. Lu Ligan then followed his own steps. First, he identified several new people from those who came to sign up, from accountants, cashiers to office staff. 6 new recruits were recruited. Lao Wan and others have not come here yet, but the construction company has to register first. Because it is a related industry, with Zhejiang Jingxiudadi Real Estate Co., Limited, it cannot register Zhejiang Jingxiudadi Construction Engineering Co., Limited. Although the shareholders are the same, the legal person is also its all Lu Lizan himself. Lu Ligan was a little frustrated, so he ran to Zhang Chen and asked him to help think of a company with a name that sounded relevant. Zhang Chen cursed, "Idiot, the Provincial Industrial and Commercial Bureau can't do it. You go to the Municipal Industrial and Commercial Office. Zhejiang Jingxiudadi Construction Engineering Co., Limited can't do it. You can't register Hangzhou Jingxiudadi Construction Engineering Co., Limited, isn't this relevant?" That's right, Lu Ligan's eyes lit up, and he ran to the Municipal Industry and Commerce Bureau to ask, and it turned out that it was indeed possible, haha. Lu Ligan put the registered address of the construction company not on Venson Road, but on Hangcheng Bicycle Spoke Factory. There are many empty houses and empty spaces there, which can be used to stack various construction machinery and equipment, including construction materials. The advantage of being close to the canal can also be taken advantage of. Ships of sediment and reinforced concrete are transported here, and when needed, they are transported by car to the construction site in the city. Lao Wan and the other owners of the construction company can also put their offices, food, and accommodation there. When I bought this place, I thought that after buying it, it would just be left there and would not be used for a while. I didn't expect that it would be used so quickly and put to great use. Otherwise, I would have to go to the construction site. Company, rent a place. Lao Wan and his maintenance team now have more than 50 people. The construction progress in Sanbeo factory is very fast. The construction of the factory building has been completed. The foundation of the office and dormitory building opposite has been started. After learning that Lu Ligan bought it after the goods yard on Jiangguo North Road, it goes without saying that Lao Wan also knew that after the Spring Festival, the number of people under his command would increase, and some of them would need to be sent to Jiangguo North Road. All the houses on Ma Cheng Road were sold out, and Lu Ligan finally decided that, yes, Jiangguo North Road would be the next place to build a community consisting of 26-story buildings. Lu Ligan did not want to increase the floor area ratio. Build until 1.8, otherwise we can build 2 more buildings. If the floor area ratio is high, the green land and public space in the community will definitely be reduced, and the quality of the community will be reduced. Lu Ligan had even thought of a name for this place, and it was called Jingxiu Xiangting. The lease of the goods yard was until the end of the year. This was because those guys at that time couldn't build the sales office inside the wall. The reason was that at that time, not to mention them, even Party A, factory director labor and others had already rented the place to others, and they did not have the right to agree to it. Before the lessor moves, Lu Ligan can prepare all the preliminary procedures and preparations. Lu Ligan himself went through the relevant departments. With Director Liu's final decision at the meeting, all departments had the green light. He was very polite when he saw Lu Ligan coming, and Lu Ligan soon became familiar with them all. Lu Ligan took the initiative to go to Zhang Mushan and told him that we will still be very close brothers in the future. My construction company also needs your help. He handed over the 10 buildings of splendid Xiangting to Zhang Mushan. Of course Zhang Mushan was happy when they built the second city. Before moving in the goods yard, Lu Ligan discussed with the leasing party, and the other party agreed that they should erect 3 large, 8-meter-high tin billboards on the side near Jiangguo North Road. On one of them, he asked Zhang Chen to design a rendering of the splendid Xiangting for him, and asked Lao Tang to find 2 of his Zhejiang American classmates to enlarge the rendering on a billboard. 3 huge billboards were erected there, like a tall wall, and there were 2 empty billboards. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said that one he planned to use to paint the enlarged splendid Xiangting. The construction land planning permit of the project also has a piece used to draw the enlarged building project construction permit. Zhang Chen scolded, "You don't think it's ugly if you paint such an ugly thing on it?" "It doesn't matter if it's ugly," Lu Ligan said, "this is the standard I established. These billboards are erected here to let all Hangzhou citizens coming and going understand that all houses in the future, regardless of whether they are in installments, whether you pay or pay in full, these 2 licenses are indispensable. Without them, everyone is suspected of being a liar. This is the standard I want to establish." Zhang Chen understood Lu Ligan's good intentions, but Zhang Chen remained silent. "Next, I will do the same on the road in North Zhongshan. I want to make this a standard feature at all construction sites in Hangzhou," Lu Ligan added. Zhang Chen's eldest brother rang loudly. It was Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao asked Zhang Chen, "Is the pole with you?" Zhang Chen said, "Here we are on Jiangguo North Road, listening to him talk about his grand blueprint. What's going on?" "Come here quickly and go to the Yan'an Road store," Xiao Zhao said anxiously on the phone. Zhang Chen was taken aback and asked quickly, "What happened to Yan'an Road?" "What happened?" Xiao Zhao smiled and said, it's okay, someone is here." "Who is coming?" Zhang Chen asked. "You'll know when you get there, hurry up," Xiao Zhao said and hung up the phone. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan quickly got in the car and walked to Yan'an Road. Along the way, they were both guessing who was coming because Xiao Zhao was so mysterious. Driving to the junction of Jiangguo North Road and Huancheng North Road, Lu turned right and burst into laughter. "Why are you laughing?" Zhang Chen asked. "I know who is coming," Lu Ligan said. "Who's coming?" "Xiao Wu, we both know each other. Xiao Zhao asked us to come together quickly." "Besides Xiao Wu, who else could be there?" Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Chen also laughed. He thought he was right. The person here was most likely Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu had indeed not been to Hangzhou for a long time. The 2 of them arrived at the Ban Mu Tian Women's Lifestyle flagship store on Yan'an Road. They went upstairs and heard from a distance that Xiao Zhao's office was very lively. There seemed to be many people there. It was not like Xiao Wu was alone. Zhang Chen and Lu the Poles looked at each other, hurried over, and walked to the door. The people inside also noticed them and let out a scream, which shocked the customers outside. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan saw Qian Fang, Su Jiaking, Ya Yulan, Cao Ziahe, and Yuan Yuan in Xiao Zhao's office. Yuan Yuan has grown a lot taller, and she can already hold Zhang Xiangbei. Thank you all for your reward. Thank you Daipen and Ziokan Fenjiun for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 749. Several women hugged Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, and everyone had tears in their eyes. Indeed, from the time Zhang Chen and his shop opened, the last time everyone got together, during this period of time, from Haikan to Hangcheng they have gone through so many things in Nanjing. This is the largest number of people since their separation. How can everyone not feel emotional? Especially Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao, they have the feeling that each family member has suddenly returned from a distance, without any news. At this time, Zhang Chen's famous oil painting Unexpected Return by the Russian painter Rapin would appear in Zhang Chen's mind. Whether it was Wei Venfang, Wu Ziyawai, Lu Ligan, Meng Ping, including today's Qian Fang, he felt that these people are like the Decembrist in the oil painting who unexpectedly returned from exile in a fat coat. And he and Xiao Zhao were like the old woman who stood up from the chair tremblingly and full of surprise. Yu Ziofu's 1984 oil painting I Knocked on the Door Softly, which shocked the entire national art world, appeared in his mind again. It was like turning his head in the oil painting, waiting for the moment the door opened to reveal what was outside. Who's Ren Bonian and Wu Changshuo? Seeing the adults crying, Zhang Xiangbei also started crying. Yuan Yuan looked at them blankly, wondering what they were doing while crying and laughing. Xiao Wan came in and took Yuan Yuan and Zhang Xiangbei out to play. The people here had just calmed down when Wei Venfang, Wu Ziyawai and He Hongmei arrived again. Everyone was inevitably surprised and excited again. It wasn't until everyone sat down in the box in Jinyuan on the 5th floor of Hangcheng building, and Chu Tianlin and Xiaoan also joined in, that everyone's mood truly calmed down and they could start talking properly. Zhang Chen guessed right. When Qian Fang and the others arrived in Nanjing, they headed for the prison. They knew that Meng Ping would be imprisoned in Nanjing, so they left Wuxi and went to Nanjing. But they could not have known that Meng Ping would be imprisoned in Nanjing. Whether it is Lohuqiao or another prison, it is impossible to know which prison Meng Ping will be assigned to after entering prison to study. Therefore, they did not rent a store opposite Lohuqiao prison as Zhang Chen imagined. They inquired about the home of a deputy director of the Department of Justice in Jiangsu province, and they transferred the small store downstairs to their home at a high price. The wife of the deputy director went downstairs to buy things in their store every day, so they quickly got to know each other. From her, they knew which cell in Lohuqiao prison Meng Ping would be assigned to, and through her, arrangements were made for their first prison visit. But there are too many levels between a deputy director and a specific prison below. Although he is the leader, he has to explain things layer by layer, which is not as direct and convenient as Li Yang. Qian Fang and the others also know this. So I didn't bother him often. Besides, Meng Ping was in prison. Even if he wanted to leave, he couldn't go anywhere. Therefore, the number of visits they made to the prison was actually less than that of Zhang Chen and the others. It wasn't until the day before yesterday when Meng Ping told them that Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan and Xiao Zhao were here and looking for them that they decided to come to Hangzhou today. But it will be much more convenient in the future, Qian Fang told them. Why? Zhang Chen asked. Do you still remember that Li Yang? Qian Fang asked. Of course, I'll be there in a minute, I'll remember it deeply. Zhang Chen said, and Lu Ligan, Xiao Zhao, He Hongmei and Wei Venfang all laughed. Indeed, as long as you have been in contact with this guy once, it is impossible not to remember him. He is now a member of our company, Jian Fang said. Lao Meng asked you to recruit him, right? Lu Ligan said with a smile. Yes, Lao Meng said, this guy is a talent. If we want to work in Nanjing, we will recruit him. Jian Fang also smiled, so we went to find him as soon as we came out of Lohukiao the day before yesterday and brought him in. Recruited into the company as the vice president, this guy really has a good track record. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan laughed. When they were laughing, they saw Ye Yulan smiling at Su Jiaking, and Su Jiaking blushed. Lu Ligan understood something and shouted, "No way, Su Jiaking, that road leads to you." Su Jiaking's face turned red instantly. Qian Fang, Ye Yulan and Cao Ziahe laughed. Cao Ziahe said that it was fate and the two of them fell in love at first sight. However, they still have that intention and have not officially established the relationship. Isn't that right, Jiaking? Su Jiaking smiled in embarrassment, not knowing what to say. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao also laughed. It turned out that Li Yang was looking for him, what a big deal, and ended up finding Su Jiaking. Su Jiaking, when that guy goes on a date with you, will he be there soon? Lu Ligan asked. Su Jiaking nodded and shook her head. She said, we went to Confucius Temple for dinner yesterday and we went together. I didn't know. Everyone laughed. Then Zhang Chen asked Jian Fang and the others what they were doing in Nanjing now. Cao Ziahe said, I took Yuan to look after the shop, and they went back to their old business. Like me, or real estate? Lu Ligan asked. Besides this, we don't know how to do anything else. We know nothing about other industries. Jian Fang nodded and said that they also established a real estate company in Nanjing and bought a discontinued 758 factory at the foot of Purple Mountain. It's so biased, what are you doing? Lu Ligan asked. Villas Jian Fang said, we inspected the entire Nanjing market and found that although everyone is ready to move, the above policies also say that housing reform and the real estate industry must be vigorously developed, but in fact, the demand has not increased. Oh, why? Lu Ligan asked. Today's units are divided into two situations. One is those units with good benefits and money. They are the least enthusiastic about housing reform. They are still building houses and allocating houses, including government units and those units with benefits. The same goes for good state-owned enterprises. Who doesn't want to take advantage of this time to make money quickly? On the contrary, the housing reform is progressing very quickly, but it is those enterprises that are very difficult to operate and some Qingshui Yamen. It is very simple. They want to take advantage of this wave to sell the houses in their original units and collect some money. In this way, the entire market now has a situation where people with rich work units and high wages have no intention of buying a house and are still waiting for their work units to allocate houses, while those with low wages have no intention of buying a house. They didn't have much money to begin with, and all that money was given to their work units to buy and renovate their houses. This group of people simply don't have the ability to buy another house in society. Chu Tianlin agreed with Jian Fang's statement. Chu Tianlin said that this was actually the same situation in Hangzhou. Lu Ligan was puzzled, and he said, then why do I feel that Hangzhou has risen, and our splendid home project has sold very well, and is all sold out? Jian Fang thought for a while and shook her head. She said, I don't know about this. Anyway, we are in such a situation in Nanjing. The three of us ran for more than a month before finally deciding to do a villa project. Su Jiaking and Ye Yulan both nodded. This is simple, He Hongmei said. Hangcheng has many markets, and the people in the market are rich, but they are all outsiders. There are no houses in Hangzhou. Although most people are not very willing to buy a house, there are always some people have this need. I have 2 sets of your splendid home here, and Xiao Zhao and the others have 3 sets. What do we do? Qian Fang is right, and He Hongmei is right. Although there are many people working in the market in Nanjing Confucius Temple, the market in Nanjing cannot be compared with that in Hangzhou. Moreover, most of the people doing business in Confucius Temple are Nanjing locals, Su Jiaking said. Everyone nodded, thinking that this might be the big reason. Everyone who buys a house there must have information. You can find out if you go see it tomorrow, Qian Fang and Lu Ligan said. Lu Ligan nodded. Qian Fang's words really reminded him. He felt that Qian Fang and the others were much more meticulous than him. They relied on market research and analysis, while he seemed to rely on intuition and kept rushing forward. Rush. Then why did you think of building a villa? Lu Ligan asked. Simple, Nanjing has a population of more than 5.1 million. Among such a large number of people, there will always be some people who have made a fortune for various reasons. There will always be some rich people. In the past few decades, all living beings were equal. These people, they still live scattered in old residential buildings, and these people actually have the highest desire to improve their housing. We are the first villa project in Nanjing. There are more than 120 villas in total. We have found more than 100 households among more than 5 million people. Can't we still find them? Qian Fang said. He Hongmei pointed at Xiao Zhao and said, there is one here. He can afford to buy a villa, but he still lives in a farmer's house. Qian Fang smiled and asked Zhang Chen, Mr. Zhang, if there was such a villa project in Hangzhou, would you buy it? Zhang Chen thought about it. If he really had such a house, he should buy it. It has a separate house and can bring his parents over. It is also very convenient for the old man to dig a piece of land in front of and behind his house to grow potatoes. He can even do it. Xiao Zhao's parents were also brought here, and they all lived in a big house. Zhang Chen nodded and said, I can. Chu Tianlin also said that if there was such a house, I would buy it. See, this is our customer. Qian Fang smiled. Qian Fang told Zhang Chen and the others that their current company is called Nanjing Panlong Real Estate Co., Limited. The structure of the company is that Meng Ping holds 50% of the shares, and the 4 of them own 12.5% each. Zhang Chen said, when we went there last time, Meng Ping told us that you were still paying him wages every month. We don't pay him wages, it's what he deserves, Qian Fang said. If you do this, Meng Ping will stop doing it when he comes out, Lu Ligan said. Why? Qian Fang smiled slightly, a man's self-esteem, right? You think this 50% share is our charity to him, right? Lu Ligan wanted to say yes, but couldn't. Qian Fang smiled and said, don't worry, Gangzi, Meng Ping is not a dry stock we gave him. Our company has a registered capital of 10 million. He actually invested 5 million. The 4 of us also invested 100 each. 250,000, in Heiken, we are also high-income people, we have the savings. Wei Venfang nodded and said, what we do now relies on our salary income in Heiken, and later on the income from Mr. Zhang and his company. Damn it, that is to say, in Heiken, all the part-time workers finally made money, and all the bosses died, Lu Ligan cursed. Qian Fang laughed and said, it's really like this. Do you regret it? Zhang Chen couldn't figure it out, so he asked Qian Fang, aren't all your accounts in Heiken Company and Meng Ping's accounts sealed, and all the money transferred by the Wuxi police? Where did Meng Ping get the 5 million? Qian Fang smiled and patted Ye Yulan beside her, and said to them, it all depends on her. It turns out that Ye Yulan has always felt that their company is like a water pipe. How much money comes in here, how much money goes out there, which makes people feel panicked. But as long as there is money in the account, Lao Meng knows how to beat her. She had to fight, so she finally came to discuss with the 3 of them and set up a small treasury to keep some money in case of urgent needs. This small treasury was opened in Cao Ziahe's personal name. The four of them knew about it, but did not tell Meng Ping. They were worried that if Meng Ping knew that he had the money, he would definitely spend it. Wuxi police came and sealed the accounts of the company and Meng Ping, but the money was in Cao Ziahe's account, so it was kept, totaling more than 7 million. Thanks to Laughing and Running Y, Ba Liang, and Book Friends 201701201935244134 for the rewards. Thank you for your monthly votes from Lu, Fei Dumao, and Laughing and Running Y. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 750. Qian Fang and the others stayed in Hangzhou for one night. They were supposed to leave after lunch the next day, but instead they went to Zhang Chen's factory on Tai Road, and then to Lu Ligan's Spring Factory, Foundry General Factory and Spoke Factory, and finally went to the splendid home construction site of Yiming Food Factory. After visiting all these places, it was already dinner time, so we all went to Chengsangqi for dinner together. At around 9 o'clock in the evening, they hugged Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao and Lu Lizan one by one and said goodbye, agreeing to meet in Nanjing next time. They drove a Nissan van. Fortunately, all four of them knew how to drive. You can take turns to drive, no matter how late it is, don't worry. After Qian Fang and the others left, Lu Ligan asked Ying Ying to take out the information of all the residents of their Jingxiu home and make statistics. It is true that half of the customers are operators of Huanbei Small Commodity Market and Longxiang Qiao Xinchen Market. There are very few in Sijiking, which is understandable. After all, the road from Sijiking is relatively long. On the contrary, Jiangguo North Road is closer to Sijiking and East Station Small Commodity Market. One thing He Hongmei said has been confirmed, that is, those who buy houses now are mainly business operators in the market. This also verified that Qian Fang's market research was correct from another aspect. That is this wave of top-down housing system reform. In fact, it has only turned the original stock of houses for each unit into individual houses. For individuals, it may be very difficult for everyone to change their concept of houses. I think it turns out that after decades of revolution, the proletariat can also own real estate. But the impact on the entire real estate market is not large. On the contrary, it is possible that some residents' original savings will be converted into housing reform housing, so that fewer people can afford to buy houses in the market. Lu Ligan took a breath of cold air. It turned out that his judgment that Hangzhou's real estate market had picked up was wrong. The booming sales of splendid home were just a result of the concentrated release of long-term backlog of demand in the city with a population of several million people. A little bit more, but Lu Ligan didn't know how much the demand was and whether it had been released at this time. If the release is complete, then there will be a long period of silence, which requires new demands and kinetic energy to regroup. If that happens, you will have to wait slowly for the demand to come up. Although houses are not consumables and are not as seasonal as Zhang Chen's clothes, people's demand for house types and internal facilities will still change. You can't build a house and wait for the demand to come up. New houses will become old ones, and building a house is not as simple as making a piece of clothing. It requires huge investment. Lu Ligan asked Ying Ying to count the numbers of home buyers. She seemed to already understand what Lu Ligan wanted to do. She told Lu Ligan that we might as well design a form ourselves and do some research. How to investigate? Lu Ligan asked. Since most of the customers who buy houses now are in various markets, we have specially designed a questionnaire form for Jingxiu Xiangting, with price, room type, and distance as options. Of course, the most important thing is the purchase intention. These are all well designed, and you can go to the market and learn about them stall by stall. In this way, we are actually promoting our real estate. Lu Ligan patted the table and said, "Okay, you will design this form. Once it is designed, it will be printed. As well as Ying Ying, you will be responsible for leading the following people to investigate separately, okay? Okay, Mr. Lu. Ying Ying said and left. Lu Ligan looked at her back and felt relieved in his heart. He didn't expect that this girl with an unattractive appearance was still a show-off. She actually had a lot of ideas. Lu Ligan got up and went to Zhang Chen's place. When he passed downstairs, he saw that Ying Ying had gathered people together to discuss how to design the form and how to conduct the investigation. It seemed that the efficiency was quite high. Ying Ying's suggestion inspired him, and he thought of asking Zhang Chen to help him design a color page advertisement for Splendid Xiangting, and he planned to print it as well. In this way, when Ying Ying and others go to the market to learn about it, they can send out this color page by the way, so that all market operators can know about their real estate. This is really what Ying Ying said. While investigating, they can give themselves made an advertisement. The little girl's idea is good, Zhang Chen said, but remind them that if they go to the market, they should go in the afternoon and not in the morning. Why? Lu Ligan asked. Everyone is so busy in the morning. Who has time to care about you? You will be kicked out as soon as you enter. In the afternoon, there is nothing to do anyway. If you are free, you will be free. I will chat with you for a few words. He Hongmei said beside him that Lu Ligan understood. Also, you can ask them to bring some small gifts, so that the people being investigated will be more serious and the results will be more accurate, Zhang Chen said. This is good, I want to be investigated like this, He Hongmei said with a smile. The forms and color pages were printed. Every afternoon, Ying Ying took the newly recruited people to each market separately. Lu Ligan really asked them to prepare small gifts, and Ying Ying went to buy them. Lu Ligan laughed out loud at the many melon seeds that cost 1 yuan a package. This was indeed a good gift for people who were bored sitting in the stall in the afternoon. After running for more than a week, Lu Ligan was disappointed. Less than 10% of the business households in the market had the intention to buy a house. No matter which market the business households were in, they all felt that Splendid Xiangting was distance is too far. Ying Ying discovered the problem. She told Lu Ligan that the distance from Longxiang Bridge was indeed far, and that the distance from Sijiking and East Station was not just a matter of distance, but psychological. Oh, how do you say that? Lu Ligan was a little surprised. When you come from Sijiking, you have to go up and down the Qingtai overpass. When you come from the East Station, you go through the railway tunnel at Gentian Gate, which is also a long uphill and downhill slope. When you cross the canal, it is another uphill and downhill slope to build the North Bridge. Cyclists are tired just thinking about it. As Ying Ying said, Lu Ligan felt that it made sense. The next day, Ying Ying led people in another direction, towards Shaoxing Road, Shixiang Road, and Dasheng Road. In these places, there were many people engaged in steel business, factory second-hand machine business, and automobile business. According to the statistical results, although the willingness to buy a house is not high, no one thinks that their property is far away. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said that although people in the market have money, it is easy to understand that their willingness to buy houses is not high. Their money is used as working capital. For them, business is far more important than houses. In addition, although these people are from other places, their original accommodation conditions are not good, and they are not very willing to improve their accommodation conditions. Compared to me in the theater troupe and the Yilin family, the conditions of the landlord's house we are renting have already been calculated. If it is not for the convenience of commuting, I will not live in your splendid home, Zhang Chen said. You're a rich man, you're talking like that, so I still have a way out, Lu Ligan scolded. There is still a way out. Build and sell at the same time. Don't be so hasty. Build all the houses at once. It can be divided into phases. There is no way to escape the land. You can start by building this one near Jiangguo North Road. If the houses in a row are almost sold out, we will build the ones behind them, so that we can build them one phase at a time and sell them one phase at a time, Zhang Chen said. Lu Ligan sighed and said, it seemed like this was the only thing he could do. But Lu Ligan felt unconvinced and a little aggrieved. This was not in line with his impulsive character. This was not a big deal or a big battle at all, but a snail, the snail on the vine in front of Amen. Zhang Chen glanced at him and said, snails are pretty good too. Snails all climb up. Have you ever seen a snail crawling down? If you rush, you may rush upward too fast, and if you are not careful, and rush down quickly. Sometimes when he was alone at night, Lu Ligan would go to the spring factory, open the door, walk in, walk through the corridor, walk along the wooden corridor, walk all the way to the pavilion, sit on the railing, and silently smoking on the ground. Outside is the canal, also flowing silently. On the North Ring Road across the city, there were cars coming and going. The road was uneven and the lights were flickering. A ship with a deep draft passed by in the canal in front of him. The sound of the motor could be heard far away. The ship passed by and disappeared into the night, but the sound of the ship still came. Lu Ligan didn't know where the ship came from. Yes, but it must have passed Gongchen Bridge, past the spoke factory, and now arrived at the spring factory. A gust of cool wind blew over, and the withered banana trees in the rockery behind him were rustling, as if someone was sighing and whispering, wandering under the moonlight. Lu Ligan felt someone approaching him quietly, and turned around, but there is only the wind, and the shadow of the banana trees blown by the wind, the shadow of the rockery, and the shadow of the pavilion. When he stood up and walked around, there was still his own shadow and fireworks that flickered on and off. Sometimes, Lu Ligan would stand on the Zongbei Bridge, leaning on the concrete bridge railing, looking here. When he looked here, he seemed to be able to see his own figure sitting here in the darkness. Lu Ligan let out a long sigh. Hurry up, get up here so you can go back, it's freezing outside. Wenwen and Qian were in the car. If Lu Lizan got out of the car and stood on the bridge for too long, Wenwen would always roll down the window and scold him. I need a bright light. Lu Ligan didn't know where the sound came from. He looked around and saw that there was no one around. Then he realized that it was his own voice. Lu Ligan was startled, but also a little excited. He felt that he really needed a bright light in this desolate night, here, by this dark canal. If not, make it yourself. Lu Ligan immediately understood that in this place, behind the wooden corridor and pavilion, and beside the ancient canal, a row of high-rise buildings would be erected. Their lights would be reflected in the canal, which would make this ancient river alluring. Washed and brightened. Lu Ligan took out his mobile phone and dialed Zhang Chen's number. Where are you? Lu Ligan asked. In the factory. Okay, I'll be right over. Lu Lizan got into the car and turned the car around. Qian asked, why, you're not going home? Wenwen shouted, hey, where the hell are you going? Shut up, Lu Ligan cursed. Thanks for the tip, Ba Liang. Thank you book friend 16121612201987 for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you a nice weekend.